We hit it. Yes, we did. Welcome into the High Noon stream for this Tuesday afternoon. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon until the battery on the computer dies. That was an issue yesterday. There was a problem. The battery wasn't charging. So we're going to have to watch that today. We're at full battery right now. As we start the show here today, 12:03, we're at 100% fully charged. Fingers crossed that because it's plugged in, it should stay that way. But it might not. We'll see. Hi, Whitney. Whitney's in the chat room. We've got the goat in the chat room. April's in the chat room. Leslie's in the chat room. Okay, just everybody come on in. Grab your beanbag chair. Form your soul circle of life. Join hands, and let's talk about all the things that there is to talk about, because that's what we do every single day on this show. My attempt here is to bring to you... Oh, my God, I didn't turn my outside lights off. I still got my evening lights on. My goal with this show is to bring to you a nice little cheat sheet, a rundown of all the things that you need to know about. Stupid little topics, headlines, current events, trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I try and give them to you. Now, what I don't do is I don't go into a lot of divisive stuff. We don't care how you voted. We don't do party politics. We don't do it's the liberals' fault or it's MAGA's fault. We don't do that. Although sometimes we have fun with some of that stuff. I mean, I'm not against making fun of people doing stupid shit in the name of either of those two things, but we don't really get into the policy of it. We're pretty much just mocking people. So that's what we do. We run through all of the things. We try to, by the end of this show, it usually takes about 2 hours, sometimes less, sometimes more. I like to think that you're going to have a nice, well-rounded view of all the things that are happening in the world today. But before we do that, we get into a little segment that we call Previously On. And what we do is we go back on this day. We look at all the events from this day, the events throughout history that have shaped how we view this particular day. All right, battery's still okay. Hold on. I've now been doing it for a couple of minutes. Let me see where the battery's at. Please still be at 100. It is. All right. So maybe I can relax a little bit. No, Byron, I'm not as late as usual. I am not. Kind of was on time today. And spent 20 minutes in the middle of my prime prep time talking with E. And if you've ever spoken with E on the telephone, you best drop anchor, because E likes to talk. He likes to work out all the world's issues on the phone. And it's a good thing that he's a decent talker, because I'm telling you, it could be brutal. But so I'm early today. Even though I was delayed for 20 minutes in a conversation. Usually I wouldn't answer the phone during prime prep time. We do a segment called Previously on This Day. And we'll do that right now. So let's get into what today is. Let's start the show. It is high noon for the 18th day. 18th day it is. I always need to check that. 18th day of April, year of our Lord, 2023. It's the 108th day of the year. That means there's 257 days remaining until the end of the year. So let's, without further ado, get into it. Previously on April the 18th, on this day in is that right? Yes. On this day in 1775, during the American Revolution, it was on this very day that the British advancement by sea began. Paul Revere warns the countryside of troop movements. The British are coming, the British are coming, the British are coming. The British are coming. The British are coming. Paul Revere, he's the guy. He's the only one. And I don't know why do we... You know why he's the only one? Because he wasn't the only one. Okay, let's establish that first of all. There was a number of other American heroes who history has completely forgot. I'm talking about William Dawes. William Dawes rode with Paul Revere. How about Israel? What was his name? Israel Bissell. He was a Jew, so they didn't really care about him. Samuel Prescott was another guy that rode with Paul Revere. But we only talk about Paul Revere. You know who else we don't talk about? Sybil Ludington. Sybil Ludington was a woman who wrote. It wasn't just Paul Revere. Paul Revere didn't warn everyone. A bunch of riders took off in a bunch of different directions. And for some reason, man, history being the fickle bitch that she is, they only remember Paul Revere. We only celebrate the hero of Paul Revere. Meanwhile, you got Samuel Prescott's relatives walking around here going, our great-great-great-great-granddad was a hero too. But no. So don't forget, Paul Revere, William Dawes, who's William Dawes, Israel Bissell, Sybil Ludington, and Samuel Prescott. Those were the other 4 people that history has completely forgotten because we decided to just celebrate Paul Revere because a poem was written about him. That was it. Those were the hit songs of the day. A poem. The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. And here we are a couple of hundred years later, and he's the only one we remember. On this day in 1783, this was also the day of the 3/5 Compromise. Oh, a proud moment in American history when we looked at our black brothers who we had enslaved and said, they're not full humans. This was all done for tax purposes. They needed to make money. You know, people needed to claim like dependents and stuff like you could feed slaves and, were they animals? Were they livestock? No, they were 3/5 human. So for taxing purposes, that happened on this day. As I said, proud moment for us here in America when we decided that black people weren't fully human. On this day in 1831, the University of Alabama is founded. No connection to the 3/5 Compromise, but still. On this day in 1906, an earthquake and fire destroyed much of San Francisco. Today is the anniversary of the Great San Francisco Earthquake. Was it? Was it 1906 or was it like 1909? I don't know. Was there another one? I don't know. Anyway, on this day, it says there was a big earthquake. Was it the big one? Was it the big San Francisco quake on this day? It says it was a big one, but I don't know. San Francisco had a number of them. And it seems like San Francisco had all the really big quakes like 100 years ago, so who knows. On this day in 1942, during World War II, the Doolittle raid on Japan occurred. Do we know about the Doolittle raid? This was a direct response to Pearl Harbor. And I don't know if this is as romanticized and mythologized as a bunch of the other World War II raids. But this was a big one. This was a very big one for a number of reasons. Colonel Doolittle, he had planned this raid. He was a pilot, bomber pilot, sorry. Colonel Doolittle had planned this raid, and the raid was not designed to necessarily be a success. It wasn't designed necessarily to be devastating. It was a targeted raid on Tokyo. Now remember, this is the center of the Japanese Empire. Okay, the Japanese people were feeling themselves. They were feeling really good after Pearl Harbor. Look at us, take it on, So they were feeling good about themselves, and they felt pretty much invincible way over there in that corner of the world. But Doolittle planned a raid that actually bombed Tokyo. Like I said, it wasn't wildly successful, but what it did was, for American morale, who they had thought, man, we're never going to get closer. For American morale, it was huge, but mostly for the Japanese. It freaked them out. They had thought, the Japanese citizens had thought that they were untouchable. They had thought that they were protected by God and the emperor and, all this bullshit. And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of American bombers flying over Tokyo at dinner time, just blowing up factories and stuff. It was an interesting raid. If you ever get a chance to read up about, if you're into World War II at all, the Doolittle raid was very interesting. A lot of guys didn't come back. As a matter of fact, a lot of the planes, they didn't have enough gas to make it all the way back to their place of origin. So a lot of the plan was, some guys were going to have to ditch in the ocean and be rescued. A lot of guys were going to have to land in China. Oh, and by the way, don't even get me started on China. A bunch of these planes landed in China, who was our friend during World War II, or at least, a semi-ally. They were getting butchered by the Japanese. The Japanese wanted to take over all of China. So after a couple of the planes from the Doolittle raid landed in China, the Japanese army went into China and slaughtered 250,000 civilians. Yeah. So thanks for letting us land, China. Sorry it blew back on you to the extent that it did. All right, let's see. What else do we have? It was 1942. In 2019, let's jump ahead. Why not? Previously, on April the 18th, it was on this day in 2019 that a redacted version of the Mueller report is released to the United States Congress and to the public. That was on this day. How exciting. Absolutely nothing. A whole bunch of people were like, I can't wait for the Mueller report. Whatever. It turned out to be absolutely... well, I don't know. Was it feckless? I don't know. Nothing happened. That's how I look at it. On this day in, that's it. 2019. Yeah, nothing stupid. Let's do some birthdays. People born previously on this day throughout history. First big birthday that we're going to celebrate, Clarence Darrow. Clarence Darrow was an attorney. He was the first, really famous American attorney. Born on this day in 1857. Didn't know that he was born. I thought Clarence Darrow was a fictional character. I thought he was made up for TV and movies and stuff. I didn't know that Clarence Darrow was actually a real person. But then if I actually thought about it, I'd go, no, wait a second. He was involved in the Scopes monkey trial, and that was a real thing, so maybe he was real. I don't know. Gentlemen, I'm battling the hiccups as we speak. I am battling it. Ed Silla wants to go toe-to-toe with me on the Doolittle raid. That's fine. I'll take all the expertise I can handle. Says they were forced to launch the raid early from the deck of the aircraft carrier because they were accidentally discovered at sea. Yeah, I believe that was the USS Hornet. Wasn't that where they took off from? I don't know. I'd have to get myself up on the Doolittle raid. But it's a great story. It's a really cool story. I mean, these guys, they didn't know they were going to make it back. And a lot of them didn't. Well, enough did, but there were losses. Celebrating a birthday on this day, let's jump ahead. Clarence Darrow. I just mentioned him because I didn't know he was real. Let's jump ahead to the real world. Rick Moranis, born on this day in 1953. Rick Moranis. God, I love Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis is a dude, man. Rick Moranis had this major career going. First of all, I love Rick Moranis going all the way back to the beginning. I love him from SCTV. So funny on SCTV. That's where he came from. So I watched his career. So SCTV was my favorite show. So every movie that Rick Moranis was in early, I saw because Rick Moranis was hysterical. What else do we say about Rick Moranis? Oh, what I admire about him. Rick Moranis had this incredible movie career. And then his wife died. And he quit. He just quit because they had kids. His wife was dead. He wasn't going to go. He had enough money. Rick Moranis knew that he had enough money. He didn't need more money. He had enough money, bought a nice house, raised his kids, stayed out of the spotlight. Dude's filmography doesn't have a film listed after 2001. I mean, it's he hasn't, and he's Rick Moranis. So Rick Moranis draft. That's right. I love Rick Moranis. You better damn well believe we're going to do a Rick Moranis draft. This is where we take the NFL draft approach to things created by people in the spotlight. In the spotlight today is Rick Moranis, so we will be discussing the Rick Moranis filmography. Rick Moranis film draft. There you go with the first pick. First pick. This was hard. This was hard because there were two that I'm his most iconic characters. I mean, the funniest. So this was hard, and it could be a pick'em. It could be a pick'em between 1 and 2. With the first pick in the Rick Moranis draft, I'm going deep. I'm going to the first movie that he did, one of my favorite comedies of all time, especially back in the 1980s. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Moranis with the first pick, we choose Strange Brew. That's right, Strange Brew, the Bob and Doug McKenzie movie. Take off, you hoser. With the second pick in the Rick Moranis draft, we're going with Spaceballs. I mean, come on! He was the Darth Helmet in Spaceballs. He was incredible. He's so funny. With the third pick in the Rick Moranis draft, we're going with Ghostbusters. That's right, Ghostbusters, the next door neighbor. Are you Gozer the Gatekeeper? He was awesome in Ghostbusters. Rick Moranis, possessed by Gozer the Gatekeeper. With the fourth pick in the Rick Moranis draft, we're going to do a little bit less slapstick, a little bit, but still funny. So funny. Ladies and gentlemen, is teaming with Steve Martin, My Blue Heaven. My Blue Heaven comes off the board with the fourth pick in the Rick Moranis draft. Remember My Blue Heaven? It was Steve Martin was a mafia dude who was in witness protection, and he was forced to live in I think it was Arizona or something like that. And Rick Moranis was the normal guy who all of a sudden, has this Steve Martin mafia dude in witness protection in his life. Funny movie. If you've never seen My Blue Heaven, totally enjoyable. Number 5, the fifth pick off the draft board, we're going to go with a movie that I don't know if we really I loved it. Little Giants, ladies and gentlemen. Little Giants, Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill. They play a couple of brothers who coached rival Little League or Pee Wee football teams. So good. But we are also going to invite a whole bunch of people to the camp this year. We've got some undrafted free agents from the Rick Moranis filmography that we're going to bring into camp. We're bringing in Streets of Fire. We're bringing in Club Paradise. Club Paradise. I love Club Paradise. That is the dumbest funny movie. Love Club Paradise. We're also going to invite SCTV to camp because although it wasn't off the filmography, it's still some of the best work of his career. SCTV gets brought into camp for a tryout. It's making the team. SCTV's making the team. Special teamer, maybe. Little Shop of Horrors. You know, I don't like musicals, but I actually saw that movie and I kind of enjoyed it. So there you go. And we're also going to invite Parenthood. Parenthood. The original Parenthood movie. Not the TV show. The movie that the TV show was based on. Parenthood gets a camp invite. That's a good movie. Also celebrating a birthday today, we've got... born on this day in 1956, Eric Roberts. Yeah, money, the money. He's got, well, I guess that was a little misleading. Eric Roberts is an interesting guy. Eric Roberts draft. No, we're not going to do an Eric Roberts because it would begin and end with Pope of Greenwich Village. Star 80. Oh my God, now that I'm thinking about it, we could do an Eric Roberts draft. Don't want to though. So when I think of Eric Roberts movies, I think of Pope of Greenwich Village, right? Pope of Greenwich Village with Eric Roberts and Mickey Rourke. They took my thumb, Polly! They took my thumb! Remember when they cut his thumb off? The mob cut his fingers off for not paying. And he ran to Mickey Rourke with his hand wrapped. And he's like, they took my thumb, Polly! It was very, very dramatic. Eric Roberts is the brother of Julia Roberts. We don't have a Julia Roberts without Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts was out there in Hollywood doing Pope of Greenwich Village and Star 80 and becoming a movie star. And his little sister down there in Smyrna, Georgia was like, but I want to be a movie star too. So Eric was like, come on up, Julia. And she came on up and Julia Roberts became the biggest star in the world. She eclipsed her brother. Then now here's what Eric Roberts is dealing with. He's a proud papa. Emma Roberts, who's a hot, young, she A-list? Yeah, she's B-list. She's still B-list. Anyway, she's a big star. She's a B-list star. That's good. That's his daughter. She's grown. She's often referred to, and I always think that this is such a shot at Eric Roberts. Emma Roberts is often referred to as the niece of Julia Roberts. And I'm like, dude, she's the daughter of Eric Roberts. Why are you giving Eric shade? I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday, Eric Roberts. Also celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1961, Jane Leeves. Jane Leeves from Frasier, most famous from Frasier. English lady. Hot or not? I don't know. I wasn't crazy about Jane Leeves. I wasn't crazy about Jane Leeves and Frasier. And she checked all the boxes for me too. I like tall. I like darker hair. I love an accent. Oh my God. Especially if it's an English speaking accent. Like if you got an English accent, Irish accent, Scottish accent, Australian accent. I love them. South African, I'll even go. I love those kinds of accents. So she checks a lot of boxes. But I was never into Jane Leeves on Frasier. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the way she carried herself. But I'll tell you, when I was into Jane Leeves, she used to be on that HBO show in the early 80s, Aerobicize. Do you remember Aerobicize? Came on every morning on HBO. It was like when aerobics was just taken off, and it was just an all-white room, white floor, white walls, white ceiling, and they were kind of shiny white, it was and it was just a girl in a leotard doing aerobics moves with the most perverted camera operator on the planet. Like the camera operator knew what he was doing. It was basically aerobics porn at 7 o'clock in the morning on HBO back in the day. But that girl was Jane Leeves. That girl was Jane Leeves. The aerobicized girl that I used to lust after at 13 was Jane Leeves. She was also a Benny Hill girl. If you watch old episodes of Benny Hill, you can see a young Jane Leeves being chased around by Benny Hill. Born on this day in 1962, local boy made good. How about a big Heidi hello and happy birthday to Jeff Dunham? That's right, ventriloquist, stand-up comedian. Nice guy, real nice guy, local dude. Born in Dallas, where was he raised? Let's see, Richardson? I think he's from Richardson. I don't know. Talk to him about it. He was a regular on the show, the old Pugs and Kelly show. He was a nice guy. I'm not really into ventriloquism, so I'm not like, he's the funniest, but he was a really nice guy. He was at a very big part of his fame cycle And he was a nice guy. He was a good dude. Jeff Dunham, happy birthday to you. Born on this day in 1963, Will, from Will and Grace, Canadian-American actor Eric McCormick. So Eric McCormick's not gay. Jack is obviously, Sean Hayes, I love Sean Hayes. Sean Hayes is obviously gay. But Will wasn't gay, right? So Will wasn't gay in real, like Eric McCormick married, I think, with kids. Because I always get confused about this. Like I always thought it was interesting that for years and years, it was, you had to be in the closet if you wanted to be a working actor. And then they start making all of these TV shows that are inclusive to the gay community. And they cast straight actors. Like, what are you doing? Okay, Sean Hayes, you get credit for. He was gay, and he's out gay, and he's gay and proud, and all that stuff. He's very funny, and he's playing a gay man. Not Eric McCormick. Same with Modern Family. Like, on Modern Family, like, okay, so, like, let's take the gay couple. Cam and, I don't remember the other guy. Beard, red beard. You got red beard and fat guy. Okay, so the gay couple, red beard and fat guy. I would have thought that fat guy was, like, the authentically gay one. And that the beard guy was a straight guy. But the beard guy is the actual gay guy in Modern Family. And the guy that I thought was, like, obviously a gay man, Cam, is straight with a super hot young wife. Cam's straight. Great actor, because I just assumed, hey, man. Born on this day in 1972, American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter, and one of the gods of modern horror, Eli Roth. Eli Roth, born on this day in 1972. Born on this day in 1974, English filmmaker, one of the gods of comedy these days, Edgar Wright, and horror, comedy horror. Edgar Wright, comedy horror. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Edgar Wright, comedy horror. Born on this day in 1974. Born on this day in 1976, Melissa Joan Hart. Who was she? Was she color? I told you like a week ago I have a problem with L's. I have a problem saying L's. Was Melissa Joan Hart Clarissa from Clarissa Explains It All? I know she was Sabrina, right? Was she a couple of those things? She is Clarissa. All right, whatever. Happy birthday, Melissa Joan Hart, born on this day in 1976. I don't know what she's doing now. I assume she married a hockey player or a country singer, because all of those girls from that era, they all ended up marrying professional hockey players or country singers. Born on this day in 1979, Kourtney Kardashian, American television personality. She is the eldest of the Kardashian clan and the smallest. That's weird. Kourtney Kardashian is the eldest sister. I mean, I don't know. Is there another sister that stays hidden? Remember, like Amy Osbourne? Remember Amy Osbourne on the Osbournes? She never wanted to be filmed, so they never even mentioned that she existed. And then the Osbournes became a huge thing, and Amy Osbourne realized that she missed out on becoming a huge thing because she was an angst-ridden teen when this was all going down. So then Amy Osbourne, like way late to the party, was like, but I'm an Osbourne too. And everybody was like, yeah, that ship sailed, sweetie. You stayed in your room the whole time they were filming Osbournes. You never appeared on that show. Nobody even recognizes you. Sorry. See, your little 17-year-old angst-ridden teenage logic caused you a pretty nice adult life. Not Amy Osbourne. Anyway, is that kind of like what Kourtney Kardashian was? Because Kim, like it missed Kourtney, right? Like Kim, the second oldest, boom, she became the megastar. And then the next one, Kourtney became the megastar in her own right. And then now you got Kylie and Kendall Jenner. So it's like everyone after Kim. Kourtney had to like wait for Kim to make it to be able to like surf some of her celebrity. I don't know. She's tiny too. She's tiny. She's very pretty. They're all pretty. They're all good looking. All those Kardashian Jenner kids are good looking. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Happy birthday, Kourtney Kardashian, born on this day in 1979. I don't watch the Kardashians. I don't know. Wait, is she married to Travis Barker? Is that hers? Because isn't there like something on Hulu that I keep getting shoved in my face? Some Kardashian wedding. Wait, is it her? Is that it? I don't know. Not interested in watching it. Born on this day in 1983, one of the greats, an absolute dude. I can only imagine if this dude played for the Yankees or the Dodgers, how big he would be, because he is absolutely one of the best baseball players I've ever seen. Happy birthday, Miguel Cabrera, Venezuelan baseball player, Miggy. Born on this day in 1983. Sox killer. The rare guy who's a Sox killer who I respect. Respect the hell out of Miggy Cabrera. Born on this day in 1984. Ugly Betty. That's right. Remember Ugly Betty, America Ferrara? Good news, you got cast as the lead in a new TV show. Bad news, you're called Ugly Betty because you're ugly. That's why you got the job, because you're an ugly actress. I mean, was that the... Because she's not. I mean, America Ferrara, she looks great. She looks... You drop her in the middle of Ohio, and, you know, she's a good-looking woman. But for Hollywood, Hollywood, she was Ugly Betty. Hollywood always does that. Hollywood has well, all they're choosing from are good-looking people. Because, like, the only people... And there's some uglies. There's some uglies because character actors need to work, too. But if you want to be like a big star, it's almost all good-looking people. So Hollywood used to always just go, we need an ugly person. So they would take like a really good person and give them glasses. Because we all know that glasses are, you know, what make you ugly or attractive. Born on this day in 1989, Ali Shawkat. Ali Shawkat, tremendous young comedic actress. I love her. I love her vibe. I love her energy. She was probably... thrown, I think the first time, it would have been the first time we ever saw her, because she was a kid, was on Arrested Development, where she played Maisie. Maisie? Maybe. She played Maybe. That's what it was. Maybe. I don't remember why they named her Maybe. There was some joke as to why her name is Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Happy birthday to you, Ali Shawkat. You were born on this day in 1989. Okay, hold on. There you have it. That's pretty much all previously on April the 18th. All right, hold on. Let me check in on the battery, because now we've been doing the show for a full half hour. Battery's 100% fully charged, folks. All right, seems to have fixed the problem. Whatever the problem was where the battery wasn't staying charged was not good. Kourtney Kardashian is an SMU alum. All right, got that big out-of-state money, I guess, you know. Let's see. Byron says, without my glasses, I can't see how good looking I am. There you go. All right, so now, because, you know, you can't let it go by. He can't. And I wonder if he knows this. See, this is my problem with this guy. Yesterday, I'm looking at all of these amazing pictures from his beautiful family life. These incredible little kids running around. This adorable picture of him and his two beautiful little babies running down the street. And I'm like, you know what? I fucking love this guy. And then Adam fucking Reyna cannot let an opportunity to correct me go by. He can't. If there is an opportunity for Adam Reyna to climb up on his pedestal and go, I know something you don't, he's going to do it. So yes, Adam, it's Aaliyah Shawkat. It is Aaliyah. Are you happy? Of course he is. I'm happy. I love what Adam brings out on me. See, I just stood up. I just did a whole performative thing. So thank you, Adam. Let's go into... Oh, some deaths. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We got to do deaths. Hey, you know who died on this day in 1942? Gertrude. Terrible name. Terrible name. You're being born, and they're going, what's the name? And you start to do the name, and you get to Gertrude, the first name, and you're like, nah, fuck that. Whatever comes after Gertrude has to be awesome. And in her case, it was awesome, because Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney died on this day. That's right. Little baby was born into the world with both the Vanderbilt fortunes and the Whitney fortunes filling her coffers. She died on this day in 42. So how old was she? 42, 52, 62, 67. She died at 67. You would think Vanderbilt Whitney would be able to, kick past the 67-yard line, right? No. Dead on this day in 1955. He died in 55? I thought he died a lot later than this. I thought he died like in the 60s. Albert Einstein died on this day in 1955. German-American physicist, engineer, and academic. He was born back in 1879. So how old was he? 55, 65, 75, 76? He was only 76? That's too young for Albert Einstein. That's you got to live longer than that. Albert Einstein seemed like he was 86 his entire life, but apparently he only lived to be 76. I love Albert Einstein. I think he's a fascinating guy. He's really interesting. Okay, E equals MC squared. I don't know anything about that. I'm talking about the dude out in the wild. Albert Einstein just walking around his New Jersey neighborhood, because that's where he lived. And he was very out and open, and everybody knew him, and, he was like the guy in the neighborhood. He was Einstein. He was the guy in the neighborhood. But he also liked young girls. That is now an established fact, that Albert Einstein, as an old man, liked young girls. Now, nobody's ever said that he did anything illegal or untoward with them, but he did a lot of questionable things. Like, Albert Einstein charged a lot of money to speak. Like, if you wanted Albert Einstein to come and speak, you had to pay him. But for some reason, once a week, Albert Einstein would do a free lecture at a local girls' school. They were the only people he didn't charge. He would go to girls' schools. It had to be girls' schools. He never would do a freebie for a co-ed school. But if it was an all-girls school, Albert would get up there and whatever. I'm just saying, he liked to be around. He liked the company of young, beautiful women. And then there's the rumor about him and Marilyn Monroe. They asked the Marilyn Monroe had been not hanging out. I don't know. She met Albert Einstein, and they asked her. They said, what was your time with Albert Einstein like? And Marilyn Monroe said he's the sexiest man in the world. And so everybody went, oh, boy. And then they went to Einstein. And Einstein didn't deny anything. He just played into it because he liked it. Einstein, I bet he could have been a legendary swordsman. Maybe he was. Maybe they just kept it quiet back then. Dead on this day in 2012, Dick Clark, American television host and producer. He founded Dick Clark Productions. He was the world's oldest teenager until he died. How old was Dick Clark when he died? All right, so 70, 82, 83. Dick Clark was 83. Oh, I would think he would have lived longer than that too. People are living longer than that now. People are kicking it out into the 90s. I was talking last night. I was talking with James, and we were talking about mortality. We were on the James, who I do the Pugs and Parker show with. It was after the show last night. We were talking a little bit on the phone. We were talking about mortality and talking about going to one another's funerals. And I said, me, with absolutely nothing going on, there's no reason. If I were to drop dead, it would affect my son and it would affect my mom. But really, I don't have a family. I don't have a whole bunch of kids that are dependent. You know what I mean? Like if I dropped dead, it would be like, oh, that's sad, but he dropped dead. And then, I said to James, I go, you got 4 kids, it's going to be a big deal. James is going to drop dead long before me. That's what we decided. Just because that's how the world works. The world will take the father of 4, leaving that family devastated. And I'm going to live to be 110 years old in my misery. In my lonesome misery, I will be 110. Dick Clark only made it to like 83. I figured he'd be older than that. All right, that's going to do it, folks. That's all of the stuff that we have to, cover as far as the what happened previously on this day. Let's get into all the things that are trending and all the topics. Let's run through stuff people are talking about today, get you all up to speed. Also, it's at this point that I like to remind you that we do need your tips. The show is going away. It's the first time I've said it. We're probably going away. So if you can't tip anything to keep us going for the next month, because at this point, we don't have enough to cover this month, and we don't have enough to cover next month, and we've got some things going on. So I don't know how much longer this show is going to go. So if you guys do find a moment to be able to tip the show, help us out, we would really appreciate it. We're definitely going to do here is what I would like to do. I do not know that the commitment to doing it's just not working. And there are other opportunities that I have to take advantage of, which will mean that I can't do this every day at noon. There's just other things. This is not a plan. There is no plan to end the show. Can make it to the end of the month. That's fine. We can do that. The Pugs and Parker show will continue on. The evening shows will be easier to do, I assume. But this one, there may be some interruptions to this high noon show, which really fucking sucks. Because this is the show that I love doing. But it's just not, it's occupying too much of my time every day to be able to justify it for very much longer. Unless something happens. And we've got some things that might happen, but I'm just saying we're in a bad shape right now. We're in a bad shape for the next month. For the next month and heading into the next month, I could see this show staying in some form, maybe shorter, maybe airing earlier, maybe being quicker, less, me just streaming, talking, but we'll see. Anyway, we're really feeling it now. So if there's anything you can do, we'd appreciate that. I know it's tough times. If you can't, like I always say, you can't, that's fine. No harm, no foul. But some of you can, and some of you can. Please do. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into what's trending today. Let's see here. The big story happening right now in our world is Southwest Airlines shit the bed again. That's right, Southwest Airlines. Remember back in December when they basically crippled the American airline system by, I don't know, what do they do? Somebody entered, wasn't it somebody was doing some... Did they say that they blamed some engineer, some like computer engineer who made some mistake, something like that? Let's see what they're blaming this one on. Southwest Airlines flights resume. Okay, so they're back up now. Southwest Airline, they were grounded. Southwest Airlines flights resume after system outage sparked travel chaos and delays with 800 planes grounded across the U.S. All right, so it was just 4 months ago that they had the big Christmas time problem there in December. Southwest requested a ground stoppage at around 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday while they worked on fixing intermittent technology issues. As a result of the intermittent technology issues that we experienced, we should hopefully be resuming our operation as soon as possible. The airline replied to several customers' complaints on Twitter. Federal Aviation Administration confirmed that Southwest requested a pause in all of the airline's departures. The ground stoppage was lifted just before 11 a.m., resuming takeoffs. However, travelers can expect extensive flight delays today. Southwest Airlines, their operations just a couple blocks from here. I bet you some people are completely freaking out. Fox News is trending. Fox News, the big Dominion voter scandal, whatever trial was set to begin yesterday in Delaware, but there were some last-minute delays, so the Fox News Dominion trial is starting today. Fox News' own people, Howard Kurtz, on Sunday during his media show that he does on Fox News, he pretty much just flat out came out and said, Fox News is spooked. He's on Fox News, and he's saying, yeah, it's been a bad week around here. It's a really, really bad situation that Fox News is going through. A lot of people would say, and well-deserved, but it is a very big deal, and they're probably going to lose this case. This case does not look good for them, so we'll see what happens. Rupert Murdoch's going to be dragged in to testify. They're dragging in everybody from Tucker to Laura to Sean to Jesse. They're bringing all the Fox people in, putting them up on the stand, and they're going to make them answer for some of the recordings of things that they said, things that they texted, emails that they sent, things that absolutely prove that off the air, these people did not believe what they were saying to us, the stupid rubes, on the air. That's what this trial is about. Dominion is saying, you went on the air and you trashed our company, accusing us of all kinds of things, even though we have proof that off the air, you didn't believe the things that you were saying. And then they have Fox News executives saying, yeah, we know, it's all bullshit. Basically, they're saying this. Well, I don't believe it either. None of this is true. None of this is credible. But this is what the audience wants. So that's the case that Dominion has against Fox. And they have it all in emails. They have it all in phone conversations. They have it all written down. So they're going to pull all these people up on stage and up on the stand, and they're going to say, "Hey, look, you knew this wasn't true, right? Well, we have you here saying you don't believe it's true, and then we have you here saying you don't believe it's true, but you're going to go on the air with it anyway." I mean, that is pretty much open and shut. So we'll see how this affects media in general, because it's this not good. Rupert is apparently freaking out. Here's the latest. You know how Rupert was engaged to this woman for like 3 weeks? Well, apparently he broke off the engagement. Everybody's like, wait, why did he break off the engagement? He broke off the engagement because he doesn't want to be married to somebody, because he was supposed to get married, and he's afraid this judgment is going to wreck his company. He doesn't want... They're saying that this is the reason that he's not getting married. And he's like, nope. We're going to stop the money spigot right now before I do anything else. I'm going to figure out how much poorer I'm going to be after I lose this lawsuit. So it's a big deal. People are watching it. We're not going to see any of it. There's no cameras or anything like that. And all the big stars are being ushered in secretly in vans through a back entrance. I saw that on what was I watching? Yeah, this was a viral video, and it came from that OAN. So, it's not real news, but it looked like real news. I mean, they were showing where like Sean Hannity and all those people will be entering away from the cameras. There'll be no cameras because there's all kinds of cameras there. How about this weird-ass story out of New York yesterday? The Department of Justice announced a number of arrests in New York City. National security concern, that's what we were told. A very spooky press release went out early yesterday saying that there would be a press conference in New York City to discuss matters of severe national security. Okay, so big national security interests. So they come out and they start talking about we've arrested a bunch of Chinese nationals. This is about China. So I'm like, all right, what'd China do now? You guys, China had a police station in New York City. The state of China had a police station with police officers, who were working for the Chinese government, operating in Chinatown in New York. It was a nondescript building, and it was an entire floor. And the camouflage for this floor in this building was that they were set up in Chinatown as representatives of the Chinese government to help Chinese citizens living in the United States do, just everyday things, renew a Chinese driver's license. Let's say you were living in America for a period of time, but you were still a Chinese citizen. Your driver's license was about to expire. You don't want to go all the way back to Beijing from New York City. So they opened an office. Passport help. You need a little help with, coming back and going and all that stuff. So that ostensibly was what this police station was supposed to be. However, they were arresting people and they were running investigations for the Chinese government on American citizens who the Chinese government deemed to be threats. So, there was an ongoing investigation about some American citizen in California. The investigation was being led out of this. They've arrested people. Like Chinese American citizens in Chinatown had been arrested and dragged to this up in America. I mean, this is absolutely, I never saw this one coming. I didn't think this one was possible. Yeah, I mean, just imagine if the, FBI just opened up a field office in China in the middle of Tiananmen Square and just started arresting people, based on American law in a foreign country. It's absurd. Anyway, 2 New York residents allegedly ran secret Chinese police station. This was a significant national security matter. That's what the Justice Department has deemed it. I don't know if it's significant. I know it's weird as fuck, man. I know that's just a weird story. Kansas City shooting. We're going to talk about this one. This one sucks. I don't know how to do this one. This was trending yesterday. We almost got to it yesterday. I don't know if we got to it yesterday. Maybe this was where we ran out of battery part yesterday. So there was a shooting in Kansas City. This is a really sad story. This happened on Friday. This was some 16-year-old kid. Mom sent him to go pick up your kids they're over at their friend's house. 16-year-old kid knew with his driver's license. He's there, part of the job, being the eldest teenage boy in the family. You got to go wrangle the kids now that you drive. You're driving, mom's cooking dinner. Go pick up your brother and sister. So the kid shows up to pick up his little brother, little sister at this house where the kids were playing at, and he walks up to the door, and 16-year-old black kid standing on the porch. He's dead. Because the homeowner greeted him with a shotgun blast. And now he's dead. He's dead. So, yeah, you knock on the wrong door and, you get shot, killed. Does anybody who considers themselves a reasonable human being think that that's a proper way to discharge a legally possessed weapon? Does anybody think that because the Second Amendment exists, that you can, somebody accidentally knocks on your door, you can kill them? No, of course you can't. You don't get to kill people simply because the opportunity to kill somebody arises. That's what this was. This was an opportunity to kill somebody, and this guy went, I'm going to kill somebody. Black kid. So, what does that mean? Does that play into it? I don't know. I think probably this was an old white man sees a black kid on his porch Friday night and he decides to just shoot first and ask questions later. Again, you don't get to kill people simply because the Second Amendment says you have a right to own a gun. You don't get to kill somebody simply because the opportunity to kill somebody arises. Fucking, you're a monster, you're a murderer, and you shouldn't have had a gun in the first place because you're obviously an irresponsible gun user. I love that. I've got a lot of friends who are I have so many friends who are gun owners. And oh boy, when the topic of being responsible comes up, they are all about it. Meanwhile, they're not responsible with their guns at all. See, dudes, I left my gun on the back seat of my car. I got to go back to my car. We're in a bar. He's got a fucking 45 just sitting on his passenger seat. Yeah, dumbass. Stow it properly, you idiot. Some gangbanger's going to smash your window, steal that gun, and kill some people with it. I'm a responsible gun owner. This motherfucker killed a kid for no reason. Now, I don't know if it was racial. I don't know. I'm not going there. But let's talk about the New York shooting that also occurred. Another fucking idiot with a gun. This one, even worse. This happened in New York. Beautiful little 20-year-old kid. Beautiful little 20-year-old blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl. Also happened over the past weekend. They were looking for a friend's house. Bunch of 20-year-olds in a car in New York. Now remember, I didn't want to go into the whole race thing because I don't know. I think people are just scared. I don't think this could be a race thing. It's a bunch of white kids up in New York, upstate New York. They pull into the wrong driveway looking for their friend's house. You know how kids are. You're looking for a party. Which one is it? Is it this one here? I don't know. Pull in. Can we see? I think that might be the house. They pull into the driveway. This fucking idiot comes out with a gun and starts goosh, goosh, goosh right into the car because the car pulled in the wrong driveway. You motherfucker. String that motherfucker up, idiot. Just someone's in my driveway. I'm a scared old white man. Goosh, goosh, goosh. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck that guy. Both of these guys have been arrested. Both of these sons of bitches deserve to spend the rest of their days in jail. Both of these old motherfuckers are going to get ass raped in jail for the next 10 years of their life. And I couldn't be here for it. Why? Because the Second Amendment is an important thing. And these fucking idiots who start fucking it up for everybody else deserve to pay the price. Are you a responsible gun owner? Then you should feel exactly the same way that I do. This is how you protect the Second Amendment, by making sure that these idiots who fuck it up for everybody else never get to see the light of day again. This beautiful 20-year-old girl, think about her. Well, think about him. That poor old man could go to jail. No, this little girl had a family. This girl had a life. This was a beautiful young college-age 20-year-old girl who made the cardinal. They pulled into the wrong driveway. They were turning the car around. Goosh, goosh, goosh. Here, let's just show you this girl. Let me show you this is who he was afraid of. Are you ready? This is who he was afraid of, this idiot. Let's do this. Here, I want to show you. It's because I think it's important for us to see the scary-ass girl who this guy decided to load a couple of shots into. Because he was scared. I'm a scared old white man, and I got my gun, and I'm gonna shoot. Look at this. Look at this. There you go. Here she is. Boom. Scariest little 20-year-old ever. Pulls into your driveway. No questions asked. Yeah! Okay. You'll never hug your grandkids again, old dude. Seriously, this story really upsets me. The other one upsets me too. And then this one on the tail end of it, two fucking idiots who don't know how to properly use a gun Again, I'll say it again. You don't get to kill somebody just because the opportunity arises, okay? I mean, if this guy is going to claim that his life was in danger, because that's the only thing, right? You can use a gun, man, if you legitimately feel that your life is in danger. If you feel like it's kill or be killed, man, that's your right. But you've got to be a better evaluator of that situation. If this guy was afraid for his life because this occurred, he shouldn't have a gun. There should be some kind of a test. This should be, are you a fucking pussy? Then you can't have a gun. Because if you're a pussy, you're probably not going to evaluate the situation because you're ruled by your fear. Fear informs every judgment that you have. This poor little girl. All right, there you go. Yeah, I got a little excited. How about this weird story? Here's a weird story out of Oklahoma. This is almost like Texas, Oklahoma, too, because this is right on the border of Texas and Arkansas. So a bunch of county commissioners, fucking media, oh, the evil media. Some local newspaper guy there in, wait, where is this? Let's find out where this is. Exactly. What county? McCurtain County? I think it's McCurtain County. So a reporter attended this town hall meeting. And then everybody left. And the town hall executives, as they do, they sit around and they talk and they go, oh boy, how about that weirdo that asked the question? They talk about stuff. So this local reporter, he leaves, but he left his recorder. He left his recorder in there because he had a feeling that these fuckers were, not exactly good people. And it's legal. It's totally legal to do this. It was in a press room. He was a press guy. He had a right to be there. That thing was on. Those people speaking who were recorded, these county officials, including the sheriff, the commissioner of prisons for the county, a police captain, and somebody else. These people had no expectation of privacy. None whatsoever. You were talking in a room with a bunch of mics that had previously had everything recorded. If you wanted to say some shit that you wanted to be absolutely certain was not going to be recorded, you should have left that room. Because that room is a hot room. Zero expectation of privacy. So the governor, they said some shit, basically. And I'll let you listen to what they said here. We'll listen to what was recorded. The governor is calling for all of them to be fired, which... I don't see any way around that. But here, let's listen to some of these recordings. And then I've got a transcript in case some of them are.
What they really don't know is
Oh, hold on. Let's do this. Sorry. So this is what was recorded down there in McCurtain County. And we'll see. Here we go. Okay, let's listen to these. This comes from TikTok. These are all the recordings. I will bring up a transcript because some of it's hard to hear. So I'll read the transcript.
what they really don't know is they.
And that's the thing about it. 20 years ago, I would have done something like that. I mean, 20 years ago, I wouldn't have political position.
They're insignificant in my life.
Yes.
Really, they bring
The old saying is,
Goes around, goes around.
it will. I told you it will.
Yeah.
I know where two big deep holes are here in Navy.
I got an excavator.
These are already pre-dug. Yeah, but the thing of it is,
We actually told the truth.
I've known 2 or 3 hitmen that were very quiet guys
Yeah.
and would cut no fucking mercy.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the chief of the prison bureau. They're talking right here. What they're talking about is the problem with black people in their community, and how 20 years ago. Well, I'll just read it to you. Well, here's one. They're talking about how to get rid of a body. The sheriff says, anyway, we wrap it up in tinfoil to preserve the body and stuff like that. We don't keep them. All the body, the heart, stuff like that. Anyway, that's how you do it. Sheriff Jennings. Oh, body parts? You mean the body parts would come apart? Sheriff, yeah, some parts of the bodies. And then another woman, Heather, says, they really fall apart when they're burnt? And another cop says, yeah, you never had barbecue? So they're talking about how to dispose of a body and about how if you cook it long enough, it'll all fall apart like barbecue. Let's see here. Jennings. Jennings is the sheriff, and he says on the tape, it's like somebody wanting this job. They don't realize. You want the job of sheriff? I heard it the other day. Said I heard it 2 to 12 people were going to run for sheriff. I said, fuck, let's get 20 people running. They don't have a goddamn clue what they're getting into. Not in this day and age. This is the sheriff talking. Not in this day and age. I'm going to tell you something. If it was back in the day when Alan Marston would take a damn black guy and whoop their ass and throw him in the cell, I'd run for fucking sheriff then. To which the sheriff responds, yeah, well, it's not like that anymore. To which Jennings says, I know. We should be able to take them down to Mud Creek and hang them up with a damn rope. But you can't do that anymore. They got more rights than we got. Okay, so this is the sheriff of McCurtain County and another high-ranking police captain and the Board of Prisons director talking about black people in their county. They are insignificant in my life, really, talking about black people. They bring no, and then it's garbled. The sheriff says, the old saying is what goes around comes around, and it will. I'm telling you, it will come around. And the police captain says, I know where 2 big, deep holes are here if you ever need them. And then the sheriff jokes, I've got an excavator. They're talking about murdering people and burying bodies. To which Jennings says, well, these holes are already dug. He then goes on to say, but the thing is, you know, I've known 2 or 3 hitmen. They're very quiet guys. They're talking about hiring a hitman, okay? They're talking about hiring a hitman to take care of a problem black guy who works for the newspaper.
We actually told the truth.
I've known 2 or 3 hitmen that were very quiet guys
Yeah.
and would cut no fucking mercy.
So I want to know why the sheriff in this town knows or is on friendly terms with 2 or 3 hitmen who will show no mercy to this guy. Anyway, that's what's happening. Here, we'll just play it out more. Let's see if we get more.
In Louisiana, because it was all mafia around
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Sheriff talking about his mafia ties.
The hair on his wife's head, her son's head, or any of those people that really were behind all that, if the hair on their head got touched by anybody, who would be the bad guys?
Who get blamed for it?
Yeah.
On a bird body, we wrap it up tinfoil to preserve the body and stuff like that. And we get all the body parts and stuff like that.
All right. So we already read that transcript. That's them talking about how to dispose of a body, but then they got holes already dug. And honestly, if they need it done, they got a hitman. But also, they're waxing poetic about the good old days when you could just take a black guy down to the creek and string him up. Can't do that anymore because they have more rights than we do. So that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the issue. And that was made public, obviously, as reported in the newspaper. The governor of Oklahoma is now calling on all officials to resign after hanging and racist remarks on the tape. I mean, I think we all assume that kind of thing goes down, right? I mean, we all know racist dudes who talk like that in the comfort of their buddies. It's just rare that we ever get it truly, verbatim from their mouth in an official. Again, no expectation of privacy. You people were stupid. You people were standing in a room with a bunch of microphones. You have no expectation of privacy. Anything that's recorded. Oh, and by the way, towards the end of it, the conversation. They thought there might have been more conversation, but at some point, the reporter who left intentionally the recorder in the room walked into the room and let them know. It was like, oh, sorry, I left this in here and it was recording. And he walked out. That was, I believe, the guy. I don't know. This is me connecting things. That might be the guy that they were talking about, the troubling reporter who they wanted to dig 2 holes for. Which, he's like, look at this. I was a topic of conversation. So that's going on up there in Oklahoma. Let's see, what do we got? The New York shooting. How about some UFO hearings? That's right. This week, The Hill, having some UFO hearings. Serious UFO here. Well, I know how to do serious in this time. But the government typically doesn't do these kinds of things very publicly, but there's been some change. There's been change in the attitudes concerning what's going on out there. This whole thing that they're going to be doing this week is directly tied to the spy balloon issues of a couple of months back. Remember the spy balloons and UFOs, where for a while it was all UFOs. So now the government is going to have like a panel, and they're going to discuss it, and they're going to talk about all manner of aerial phenomena. And a bipartisan group of lawmakers is doubling down on solving the decades-old UFO mystery. On Wednesday, that's tomorrow, the Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities will hold the second hearing on the phenomena in over 50 years. Congressional interest in UFOs, also known as Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, or UAP, as we UFO nerds like to call it, they surged following the 2017 publication of eyebrow-raising videos recorded by Navy fighter jets. In my entire life of being a ufologist, amateur rank, there has not been a more important piece of evidence than the release of those 2017 military tapes. All of a sudden, it's not just one. See, it's not just like, oh yeah, there was a guy and he saw something and they got it on radar and the Navy released it. No, we're talking about hundreds of instances. We are talking about tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes taken from cockpits of airplanes that encountered things, and they released them all at once. Now, some people are saying the reason you release them all at once is so that you deluge people and they forget about it. They're like, oh, it's so much, I don't even know where to start. You know, it's that kind of thing. Maybe so, but whatever. Anyway, it was a big deal. If you've not seen those United States Department of Defense videos taken from naval warships, maybe you should. As a result, the Department of Defense established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, known as AARO, which is, kind of clunky because it's AARO. Congress granted the office sweeping authority to scientifically analyze UFOs that exceed the known state-of-the-art in science and technology. So there you go. That's going to have. They're going to look at the way these things are moving, and they'll learn nothing. They'll figure out a way to politicize it. I mean, what is belief in aliens MAGA or not? I don't know. Is it a lib thing to believe in aliens? I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, it will be. It will be one of those things. They just haven't figured out how to politicize this one yet. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, God. Okay. All right. So I don't like to do politically divisive stuff, but this is a funny story, man. This is a funny, weird story. And I'm sorry if these people are like your heroes, if these people are, but look, I've said this. This is how I look at it, okay? This is how I look. I look at all these people. I don't know from policy. I don't give a shit about policy. Look, you say something really stupid and horrible, then I'm going to be like, okay, I don't like that policy. But for the most part, I don't use policy or ideology. I just look at someone and I go, does that dude look like a fucking con man or not, right? I have that ability. Trump, that's what I say with Trump. Look, I don't know from whatever, his policy, I don't really get it. I don't care, right? I know that a lot of that shit was like liberal hype and stuff. I can't believe he did. Like, I get it. But I look at Trump and I go, that fucking guy doesn't care about anything but himself. And you people think he's your champion? I mean, that's just what I can't get over. That's the hurdle I can't get over. He doesn't give a fuck about America. He gives a fuck about his money, and that is obvious. And you people, he's saying the shit you want, so you're just giving him that money. Well, that's fine. That's fine. That's your choice. And you can disagree with me on this. But I look at that guy, and I can say, this goes all the way back to the 80s. Donald Trump has always been a joke, a buffoon, a comical character, a loudmouth. He has always been that to me. So, I mean, I just can't. This has nothing to do with politics. He was always a clown. Ugh. Hell, one of my favorite parts about interviewing Mark Cuban back in the day, he used to do our show regularly, was we'd always engage him in Trump talk. And this is years before Trump, because Cuban hated Trump, because Trump was a D-bag. And he would always tell these D-bag stories about silly things that Trump did around other billionaires and how other billionaires all think he's such a, fool and all that. So we love that stuff. But that predates his political stuff. So my dislike of this guy, I don't even know if it's dislike, but just I don't take him seriously. He's not a serious person. He's turned into the repercussions from his presence have become very serious. But I don't worry about all that. But there are a couple of other people who are on the grift, who are saying, remember I told you, you got to beware of people telling you things you want to hear. If you start listening to somebody and they're in a suit and they're streaming on YouTube and they're saying shit and you're going, yeah, it's exactly how I... See, that's dangerous. That's dangerous because that's not supposed to be how information works. You're not supposed to be thrilled with information. You're not supposed to be excited because somebody else's opinion confirms your bias. That's not how it works. So there's a whole bunch of these guys on the grift, and they're all killing each other now. They're all going to war. I'm talking about this guy, local kid made good. I'm talking about Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar, who is a major force in the MAGA far right. He's the Stop the Steal guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he changed his name for the dupe to Ali Alexander. His name is Ali Akbar. He's, whatever. Apparently he didn't think that would play too well with the folks he was trying to dupe. So this Ali Alexander, he found his lane and he decided he makes some money. He's the Stop the Steal guy. And it's been revealed that he's a pedophile. It's been revealed that he's admitted it. He's admitted that, look, the pedophile thing, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. The dude was soliciting dick pics from numerous underage boys. Okay? During the course of his whole Stop the Steal thing, it turns out that he was having these relationships with a whole bunch of boys, one in Colorado, 15 years old. So, here's what's interesting about this. So there's another guy in this equation named Nick Fuentes, right? Now, Nick Fuentes, interestingly enough, is a white supremacist who runs an organization called America First. Nick Fuentes is a kid from LaGrange Park, Illinois. Nick Fuentes went to Lyons Township High School. He's like some rich kid who's now like, white people are being, it's crazy. Anyway, and I would also point out, the dupe is strong with these people. Nick Fuentes is not white, and yet he's a white supremacist. I'm sorry, he's a Mexican. Mexicans are not considered white, at least not by my racist grandpa. My racist grandpa would not have considered someone with the name Fuentes to be white. Yet, here he is the spokesperson for one of the biggest white power organizations as far as, them not being... he's a Nazi. He doesn't believe in the Holocaust, and he praises Hitler, and he praises Putin, and, he loves all of that stuff. So anyway, there's Nick Fuentes, and then there's Ali Akbar. Ali Alexander. So these two guys used to work together, right? But now it turns out Nick Fuentes has gotten a hold of these pictures, and they released them. These pictures of Ali Alexander trying to lure a couple of different teenage boys to come to Dallas, tell your parents it's a swim meet, you can be my... And then he's like, send me dick pics. It's just completely right there. It's not subtle. It's not, well, he could have meant... No, he's saying, hey, come here, I want to fuck you, little boy. That's basically what this Ali Akbar dude is doing. So Nick Fuentes, who now doesn't like that Ali Akbar is making, probably, I don't know, maybe he got a little bit too much attention from, Fox News or whatever, I don't know, whatever it was. But Nick Fuentes has now turned on Ali Akbar, and he's made these text messages and all of these things public. Stop the Steal, Ali Alexander versus America First, Nick Fuentes. That's the story. These two people, they want the same thing. Both of them are fighting for weird... white people things, which, neither of them, you got Ali Akbar and Nick Fuentes. Neither of these guys are even white people. I don't, it's so confusing. So confusing. It says here, Duncan is the 15-year-old. Duncan is the name given. In his messages to Duncan, according to screenshots, there was one name that Ali Akbar Alexander dangled as a perk. The teenager, if he kept up contact with Alexander, would meet Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, Milo Yiannopoulos is another one of these troubled dudes. He's another weird one, because he's all like, I'm far right, ultra. Oh, and also I'm a flamboyant gay man. It's just all so weird. It doesn't make any sense. You've got a whole bunch of people who are rallying to these folks who wouldn't allow them in their dinner table. They wouldn't allow them a seat at the dinner table. You think the average MAGA attendee just off the street is going to let Ali Alexander Akbar into their... No! You think Milo is going to come to some dinner party and, Dothan? No, it's so weird. It's such a weird shell game. I mean, I don't get it. Okay, so anyway. Let's see. Alexander dangled an introduction to Milo to this Duncan kid. In exchange for an upcoming trip Alexander was planning, Alexander purportedly told Duncan he would introduce the teenager to Yiannopoulos and speculated about whether the boy would be Alexander's arm candy, and suggested the boy would have to be, quote, entertaining in order to gain this perk. Rolling with me, in quotes, because Alexander said it, rolling with me, Alexander wrote, mostly I'll have an entourage. This is Alexander trying to lure this 15-year-old boy on a date. Mostly I'll have an entourage. It depends. It depends. If it's me babysitting you during the day, then no, I don't have kids. If it's something more entertaining, then maybe we can hang out. It all depends on what we're up to. No matter what, I'll let you meet Milo. There's probably 5 people I'll introduce to him, but who will be my arm candy? The one with me always in VIP and in and out? Well, that is to be determined by the boy who plays his cards right. That's what he wrote to the 15-year-old boy. Other screenshots show Duncan, the 15-year-old, sending Alexander a picture, which was redacted in the version of the screenshot reviewed by the Daily Beast. It was a dick pic. Alexander responded with the face with heart eyes emoji and asking the teenager which app Alexander could use to send him money. He's sending him money for dick pics. 15-year-old dick pics. Ali Akbar Alexander is sending money. And this will not affect his standing at all. Why? Because he says shit that people want to hear other people say. So he's indemnified. And he'll probably, this shameless motherfucker, this guy will be out there calling other people pedophiles now, because he's done that a lot. It's called projecting. I always look at this from these people, whether you're on the left or the right, these people who accuse others of something, it's like, you're fucking projecting, dude. This dude, Ali Alexander, was one of the prime guys who accused everybody of being a pedophile. And now he's the pedophile, the legit pedophile, trying to bang 15-year-old kids, boys, by luring them with a chance opportunity to meet the great Milo Yiannopoulos. An undated series of screenshots purport to show Alexander laying out rules for his contact with the teenager, many of them stressing secrecy and a sort of quid pro quo relationship between sexual availability and career opportunities. He's talking to a 15-year-old about how if he has sex with him, he'll give him career opportunities. A 15-year-old boy in Colorado. He then goes on to say in a screen grab, everything is secret and private. We're family. If this motherfucker ever uses the word groomer and applies it to somebody else again, well, he will. He absolutely will. And everybody will just go, hey, that other guy's the bad guy. Ali Alexander then says, another said that Duncan was allowed to say, he said, Ali Akbar Alexander told this kid, you're allowed to say no, like to all the things that he asks. I'll ask you to do things. You're allowed to say no, in quotes, but that you might be deprived of something unspecified in return. So, if I want to diddle you from behind in the bathroom at Arby's, you can say no, but I'm not promising that I won't withhold something for you later. Fucking weird, man. Boundaries are cool, Alexander says. You're allowed to say no. However, the less you deprive me, the less I deprive you. I'm a big sharing person. He goes on to say, finally, according to the messages, Alexander said asked Duncan to, quote, be mindful of each other's reputation. Be mindful? What are you talking about? In an appearance last month on a podcast hosted by white supremacist Richard Spencer, Duncan, now 21, claimed that Alexander wanted him to fly to Texas to be his intern, assuring the teenager that the boy could just lie to his parents and say that he was going to a swim meet. But Alexander had grown frustrated by May of 2019, claiming that the still underage Duncan wouldn't send him good jack-off material. And that's a quote. That is a direct quote. He actually reached out to this underage kid and said, I'm angry at you because you're not, quote, sending me good jack-off material. But Alexander, you don't even, here's the direct quote. You don't even send me videos anymore. Oh, so Ali Alexander's phone server has child porn on it. So there was an underage boy sending him sexual materials on his phone. We know this now. The FBI better be seizing this guy's phone. You don't even send me videos anymore, unquote. Alexander wrote, according to the message, no good jack-off material. Don't even want to be my side piece, do you? This is a 15-year-old kid he's talking to. My son is about to be 14. A day later, according to the screenshot, he asked Duncan to come to Texas for a week for a, quote, internship. Duncan, now 21, has since become a relatively high-profile member of Fuente's racist America First movement, going by the name Smiley. Duncan said he believed Fuentes knew about the rumors about Alexander's alleged solicitation of nude photos. So there you have it. So you've got the crazy America First Mexican dude who's in charge of like the white supremacy wing of the Midwest. That's what we're going to call it. The Chicago area Mexican who leads he's Mexican. His dad's a Mexican. His dad was born in Mexico. Nick Fuentes. Again, I don't know how that guy turns into a white supremacist, but whatever. So you've got the war going on between that guy and Dallas's own Ali Akbar. Oh, excuse me, Ali Alexander. That's right. Not Ali Akbar, because that name would be troubling. But I will always refer to him now as Ali Akbar Alexander. Not that I refer to him much, but it's kind of fun because, remember how certain dumb people would always go out of their way to call him Barack Hussein Obama, like that meant something. So I'm just going to do the same thing now with heroes from the left or the right, whatever. I don't even know what's right and left anymore. I don't. I'm so in the middle. I see crazy everywhere. Judy Blume is trending. Well, this is a nice little transitional story here. Judy Blume is trending. You guys remember Judy Blume? I mean, I remember her because, I don't know, apparently chicks dug her, right? Wasn't she a chick book girl? Wouldn't she write Fudgy? I remember Fudgy. Fudgy was a character I thought was funny. Fudgy was like her little brother or something in some of the Judy Blume books. I don't know. Anyway, apparently, and I guess I hadn't realized this, they're finally making a film of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And I think before it gets banned from all the schools, Judy Blume, girl getting a period book about girls having their period, got to ban that because, you want girls. I think the response that the religious right wants to girls getting their period was best exemplified by Carrie, the film Carrie. I think that's how they want all girls to go through their first menstrual experience. You start to bleed, your mom kicks you into the closet, and then she beats you with a broom handle, and you stay in there for a couple of days until you're done bleeding, because that's the devil's work. Anyway, there are no problems, at least that I can tell, with this new book or this new movie. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Is that a period book? I thought it was a period book. I don't even know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really know much about it. Anyway, Judy Blume is trending because of that and because she's being called a TERF. Judy Blume is like a 90-year-old woman. She is beloved by young pubescent girls for decades. Would you just leave her alone? And why is she being called a TERF? Because she's friends with J.K. Rowling. Because she's like, yeah, I know J.K.'s good. I like J.K. We're friends. That's it. That's basically all she said. She says, I love her. Bloom immediately interjects when speaking of J.K. Rowling. I'm behind her 100% as I watch from afar. Bloom is referring to the abuse Rowling has received for speaking up in defense of women's sex-based rights. And given that Bloom has faced repeated attacks since the 1980s for her books, descriptions of adolescent sexuality and puberty, Bloom knows what it's like to be pilloried as an author. Has she reached out to Rowling? Bloom says, no, I haven't. I met her very early on in her Harry Potter career, and she said to me, oh, my sister, and I used to read all of your books, she said. And she talked about Deanie. I guess that's a character. I think once or twice we sent each other little notes, but I haven't been in touch with her during this rough time. Maybe I should. A nice old lady, Judy Bloom. And now she's getting hammered late in life because she's like, I should reach out to somebody that I had a friendly relationship. That's it. That's all she said. And now, because she hasn't completely thrown. Anyway, that's why Judy Bloom is trending. NYC clubs. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There was a story concerning this a couple of weeks ago. And since then, there have been like just a rash of them. So now it's becoming a real thing. We're talking about gay men going into gay clubs in New York City, getting drugged, something spiked in their drinks, and then getting robbed. And in some of these cases, dying from the overdose. It's happened a couple of times in New York City just in the last couple of weeks, and New York police are now saying that, we think that there's actually a theme here. We think that it's happening in gay clubs. And people have been like, yeah, it's been happening in gay clubs. But you know where else it happens? In every club in America all the time since time began. They used to call it a Mickey Finn, but the concept of drugging somebody in a bar in order to incapacitate them to rob them isn't something special that the gay community is being targeted for. Okay, it's happening in gay clubs. I would consider that inclusion. I would be like, well, good, look at us. Now we're totally included. But as far as the idea that, people are going into clubs and drugging people and then robbing them, it's not unique. This is not a gay club story. This is not another example of how, gay people are being persecuted. It's not. It happens everywhere. Look at Bill Cosby, for crying out loud. Dudes have been slipping drugs into the drinks of women in clubs and all. Have you ever gone to a club and you see, girls? Every girl I used to go out with, they never leave their drink anywhere. This is something guys don't worry about. You know what I mean? I'm sitting at a bar with my buddy. I got a bar stool here. I got my beer right here. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I leave my drink. I go to the bathroom. Girls don't do that. Girls won't do that. Or, you see they put something over their drink, like just a little something so that it's more of if somebody wants to try and slip something in there, it's not quite as smooth. You have to actually. Anyway, the New York City police are saying that this is actually turning into a very serious thing, and they're starting to take it seriously. But please, folks, please, 43 of these, 43 druggings and 7 deaths in the last year. New York clubgoers face a wave of violent robberies. But here's what I push back on. I push back on the idea that this is just another attack on the gay community. No, these people doing it are probably gay. This is just another attack on civilized society by the criminal element. I don't think it has anything to do. You're not special. This isn't like people hate gays and look at what they're doing. And, there are certain groups trying to put pressure on the police department to make them treat this like a more serious thing. And I just don't know that that's the case. I think that obviously it's a terrible thing, but this is what happens. You go out alone to a club. First of all, if you're a woman, in straight society, a guy goes to a straight club alone, he probably doesn't have anything to worry about. But I bet in gay society, that man walks into a gay club, he could very well be seen by some the way that a vulnerable woman might be seen entering a club by herself. Like a woman wouldn't do that. Like, I'll give you an example. Like I went to New York a couple of years ago and I was only there for 2 days and 2 nights. And on the first night, I went out in New York by myself. I love it. It was a nice midtown hotel and all that stuff. Went to a club by myself. Never thought anything of it. Then one of the people that I was traveling with was a woman. And she said, what did you do last night? I go, I just went out. I went to a couple of clubs. And she's like, oh, really? She's like, you just went by yourself? And I said, yeah. And she looked at me and she said, I wish I could do that. And I didn't even really think about it before that. And I went, well, why can't you? And she's like, oh, yeah, right. Yeah, a woman in a strange city, New York, all by herself, going out to have a couple of drinks at midnight. That's not something that... So she was smart. I didn't really put that together. But it does happen. It happens if you go to a club alone and make yourself vulnerable. Be careful. Be careful. Big deal, though. I mean, that's a lot. That 43 druggings and 7 deaths over the last year. So now New York City police are like, they're going to start stepping up in the gay clubs. But again, I push back. You can do this in any club. This is happening in any club. Jalen Hurts is trending. Yesterday, Jalen Hurts became the highest paid football player in the history of the National Football League. Eagles, Jalen Hurts became the highest player in National Football League history yesterday after the quarterback agreed to a 5-year, $255 million contract extension. The deal includes the first no-trade clause in Eagles franchise history. How many years did he get? 5 years. The deal includes the first no-trade clause in Eagles franchise history and $179 million in guaranteed NFL money. That's... He didn't used to guarantee contracts. That's not something the NFL ever did, the guaranteed contract. Are you kidding me? This is a brutal sport. I could pay you $100 million today. You can blow your knee out tomorrow and you're useless to me and I'm out $100 million. Well, tough. That's the gamble you take, rich guy. At least that's how it is now. Apparently, guaranteed contracts are becoming a thing. That's a big one. So he was guaranteed $179 million. So he's got $179 million in the bank right now, even though it's not actually in the bank, that he can draw credit off of. Because, he's got that $179 million coming. He also got a $110 million signing bonus. So I'm guessing, does that signing bonus, is that signing bonus in addition to the $179 million guaranteed? Yes, it is, because it's a $250 million. Wow. Hurts' average salary is going to be $51 million a season. It's timing. I mean, his deal came up. His deal came up after he took his team to the Super Bowl, and they weren't going to let him walk. They're building the entire offense around him. Jalen Hurts looks like he's a quality NFL quarterback. He's going to be with the Eagles now forever. Although it is interesting, I root for Jalen Hurts. I know I'm not a Philly Eagles fan. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I get that whole thing. But if you look at Jalen Hurts' career, Jalen Hurts has always been a good dude. Jalen Hurts has always taken whatever they've thrown at him, and he's just simply been like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it anyway. I'll do it to the best of my ability. Is this the position you're putting me in? You're going to place me in this box? Fine. Screwed over. Totally. Saban screwed him over at Alabama. I hated that. Jalen Hurts was great. But Tua got to be the starter now. Jalen Hurts didn't take Alabama to the national championship game, and then the next year he was like, we're going with Tua next year. So Jalen Hurts, he jumps. He goes over to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma? Oklahoma State. I don't know, wherever Jalen Hurts goes, he has a wonderful, finishes out his college career. Tua down in Alabama, we're all going to be tanking for Tua. Tua's going to be the number one pick. Tua's going to be this, Tua's going to be that. Everybody forgot about old Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts falls to the second round in the 2020 draft. Jalen Hurts falls to the second round. Quarterbacks taken before Jalen Hurts in the 2020 draft. Burrow was taken number 1. Joe Burrow, that looks like a good deal. Joe Burrow, he's... Tua was taken second of the quarterbacks in that draft. Tua was taken in the first round. Tua, the guy who, he's better than you, Jalen. And then it turns out, you know what? Tua might be better. I mean, I guess, all things equal. But he ain't built for the NFL game. You know who's built for the NFL game? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a big dude. Jalen Hurts can take hits. Jalen Hurts can... Not Tua. Tua's like a brittle little baby. Burrow, Tua, Herbert, right? Herbert was taken. I think Jordan Love was also taken in the first round before you got to Jalen Hurts in the second round. I root for Jalen Hurts. I'm glad he got this money, and I hope that he picked up the phone and called Tua as soon as he got that guaranteed money and goes, here's my contract. Are you retired yet? Click. Because Tua might be on his way out. And I got no hatred for Tua. I really don't. I just think it was a terrible situation that played out in really a humiliating way for Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts took that like a man. He wasn't like a big bitch about it. He just went to a different school, as he should. He had his team in the championship game. He had Alabama rocking. Took it like a man. He took his second round draft status. He went, I should have been in the top 5. I should have been one of these guys. He didn't get that because of what happened with Saban. And then he gets drafted by the Eagles and boom, he shows the world what he can do in year 3. So good for him. Yeah, money. I begrudge no man the money they can get. I know the billionaires who are paying them are worth way more than this. So you know what? Good for you, Jalen Hurts. I'm happy for you. Frank Ocean is trending. Frank Ocean apparently closed out Coachella. Apparently Frank Ocean hasn't performed in like 6 years. Didn't know that. Couldn't tell you one Frank Ocean song. I'm not familiar with Frank Ocean. Here's what I know about Frank Ocean. He's gay, right? That's it. He came out as gay like 6 years ago. There's a gay guy doing R&B. Cool. So he did. He came out for the first time in like 6 years, and I guess he was the headliner on Sunday night at Coachella, and he sucked. He like totally like everybody's like, oh, this guy's the worst. Oh, he's terrible. It's the worst show ever. First of all, he showed up late. He showed up an hour late. He's supposed to go on. The crowd was waiting for an hour. And he's closing the show. So that means they're battling curfew issues. You know, the shows have to be over by a certain time. And this dude just wasted an entire hour. Apparently, he only did a couple of songs and then went, curfew, gotta go, bye. And everybody booed and threw shit. Anyway, that's why Frank Ocean is trending. Armie Hammer is trending. Armie Hammer ain't been trending in a while. Armie Hammer, remember him? He's the actor that Hollywood tried to make a superstar for like 10 years, and we kept going, no! And Hollywood was like, but he's handsome. He's handsome, and he's going to be the Lone Ranger. And we were like, yeah, Lone Ranger movie sounds interesting, but no! And like we just totally wouldn't accept him. They kept trying. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Remember that TV show? We're remaking The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Armie Hammer's going to play the Man from... And we were like, no! For some reason, he's just not catching on. We just don't... And Hollywood tried. And they pushed him. And they weren't giving up. I mean, they were still, pushing Armie Hammer. He's going to be a big star. And then it turns out that he's a sex weirdo. And he's a sex weirdo. He's got a whole bunch of other things I don't like about him. One, ridiculously handsome. Look, if you're going to be ridiculously handsome, you also can't be like 6'5" and 0%. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess maybe that all plays into him being ridiculously handsome. But you can be like really handsome and thin, and like a normal dad body. What you know what I'm saying? He just got way too much going for him, Armie Hammer. Then he was born into the Hammer family. Armand Hammer was his grandpa. Armand Hammer was like the most powerful and influential industrialist in the world for like 70 years back in the early parts of the previous century. Armand Hammer was a big, important person. More important than the president, many said. So that's his grandpa or his great-grandpa or whatever it is. He comes from that family. Billions. Handsome. I'm going to be a movie star because look at me. I'm handsome and I don't have to wait tables. I can go on there was that thing. Rich kids. I always tell you about rich kids. They have it better in Hollywood. And that's why most celebrities were rich kids because it's just easier to get to that place when you don't have to wait tables and worry about, making rent. When your parents are paying for everything, you can go on auditions every day and you can get breaks that other people can't get because, they were covering for Sheila down at the diner. So Armie Hammer, he was weird sex guy. And he started he did weird sex stuff, cheating on his wife like all the time. Like he's got this hot, beautiful wife. And he's out there cheating on it's like if his wife, on a scale of 1 to 10, his wife is like an 11, right? And so he's out there cheating with like 12s. Seriously, you should see these women that he was cheating with. Did you guys watch The House of Hammer? That documentary series? I watched a little bit of it. One of the girls who was like a 12, Evie, I think it's Evie. She's like the main one. He tried to eat her. Remember, he wanted to do cannibalism stuff on her. Evie's from Dallas. She's from Dallas. Oh, she's so gorgeous. Seriously. Anyway, it's pretty interesting. I didn't get through the whole thing because, I watched like 40 minutes and I'm like, I get it. I get what's going on here. That was interesting. I'm going to move on. So his career is over because of all these sex scandals and because he's a weird sex guy. And he's not even like bad sex. Ellie Alexander, we just talked about him trying to, solicit dick pics, successfully soliciting dick pics from a child. That's not going to affect Ellie Alexander's place in his little world that he created. Armie Hammer is just doing weird sex stuff with hot chicks and he'll never work again. It just never. Consensual, bizarre, sexual conversation is essentially what the problem with Armie Hammer is that his sexual tastes as depicted in text messages and voicemail messages are weird, but consensual and, Anyway, he's never going to work again. And the reason that he's trending now is because after all of this time, the LA Police Department are now openly investigating allegations of sexual assault against Armie Hammer. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Apparently he's also being... I don't remember. Maybe I should have watched more than 40 minutes. I don't know about the sexual assault stuff. I just know about the cannibalism. I wanted to find out what the story was behind the cannibalism stuff. I'm telling you, this girl that the way he was talking to this girl, Evie, like the way he was like just being demanding and bossing around. And I'm looking at this girl and I'm like, she would be top 10 on any list of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And this dude is talking to her like this? What kind of life did this guy have that he felt comfortable talking to a 12 like this? Not me. Not me. I couldn't talk to her like that. That's why I'll never be with a 12. Because, you know, I'd be all like, my queen, my princess. She don't want that. They don't want that. Let's see here. We got a list of the wealthiest cities in the world. Are you interested to know what the wealthiest city in the world is? Oh, yeah. I like these lists. You know how we love lists here on the show. Wealthiest city in the world. We got a ranking here. Should we go top down? Let's go top. Let's go 10 to 1. We'll give you 10 to 1. We'll build up to the 10 wealthiest cities on the globe where more rich people live. Here's how this works. The amount of millionaires. So the amount of millionaires who live in any particular city is how they gauge the wealthiest cities. Coming in at number 10 on the list, Sydney, Australia, with 126,900 millionaires. Sydney, 127,000 millionaires. Number 9 on the list is Shanghai, with 127,000 millionaires. Beijing is number 8. Communist Beijing. Communist Beijing is not communist. Beijing is number 8 with 128,000 millionaires. Hong Kong comes in at number 7 with 129. Los Angeles, look at us, Los Angeles, California. Finally, America makes the list. Los Angeles is the 6th wealthiest city in the world with 205,000 millionaires. Singapore comes in at number 5 with 240 millionaires. Number 4 on the list of the wealthiest cities in the world, London, England, comes in at number 4 with 258,000 millionaires. Top 3. Here are the top 3 wealthiest cities on the globe. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, San Francisco, California. San Francisco, California, 285,000 millionaires reside in San Francisco. You can't afford to live in San Francisco. I can't afford to live in San Francisco. Have you ever looked at rents in San Francisco? It's ridiculous. The number 2 wealthiest city in the globe, the number 2 wealthiest city anywhere here, Tokyo, Japan. Tokyo, Japan comes in at number 2 on the list of wealthiest cities. 290,000 millionaires in Tokyo. And ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 wealthiest city on the globe for the 5th year in a row, New York City. That's right, New York City with 340,000 millionaires living in the city of New York. 340,000. There you go. There's your wealthiest city list. Starts with Sydney at number 10 and ends with New York City at number 1. Let's see. Hollywood writers. Hollywood writers have overwhelmingly voted yes to a strike. So there you go. We're gonna have. So here's what happens with a Hollywood writers strike. So the problem with a writer's strike is that nothing gets produced. Now, you would think that the problem with a writer's strike is that nothing gets written, but that ain't true. A writer's going to write. Writer, it doesn't matter if they're still, they get an inspiration. It's what drives them. So writers throughout this strike are just going to be cranking out ideas and scripts and all this stuff. They're going to be cranking it out. Doesn't matter. Here's the thing. None of that stuff can get produced. So they're going to have a backlog of stuff. So what's really happening here with the writer's strike, and we learned this last time, there is going to be no new produced original scripted material on television until they resolve this thing. I mean, the stuff that's already in the can will air, but once that stuff is gone, then there'll be like, a couple of weeks of just nothing but reality shows. The last writer's strike is when the reality boom in prime time really took off. If you remember, the last reality strike or the last writer's strike coincided with the rise of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Remember Regis Christ? He saved ABC by just doing that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. And then NBC got into it and they did You All the Weakest Thing. I mean, that was in response. And there was a whole Joe Millionaire. I mean, there was a whole bunch of reality shows. Why? Because people who write and produce reality shows do not belong to the Writers Guild of America. They're not writers. So you can do all that stuff. So maybe we'll get some new reality shows. But the fact of the matter is that once the season is or once the strike is settled, it's not like we're going to have to wait now for new stuff to be written. There's going to be a whole backlog of stuff, so we're going to start cranking stuff out. So, just sit tight. It's the summer. Go outside. Go listen to a ball game on the radio on your front steps like it's 1975. Go do something like that. You don't need new shows. But it'll be fine. It'll all be fine. Okay, so here's something. This is not trending, but it does have to do with this show. I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So my friend on Twitter, a guy by the name of Radio Dallas. Are you familiar with the Chat GPT thing? It's an AI tech, and apparently this is a computer. Oh, God. How do I explain? I don't know. I don't even know what it is myself. But this is not a human writing these facts. This is a computer. This is an AI. This is artificial intelligence just based on all the stuff that it's got in its artificial intelligence brain. This is I don't know. This is a computer writing this. This is what the computer thinks is true. So this is an example of the dangers of Chat GPT and how they're pumping out all kinds of you're reading these stories and they're not even written by people. They're just. So this is an example of how Chat GPT AI exists within its own reality and why it's dangerous at this stage. They're still working the bugs out. So a computer, Chat GPT, artificial intelligence, wrote this about my former show. My former show that was here, and we're doing the whole Live 105.3 podcast documentary thing. So my old show was called The Pugs and Kelly Show here in town. This is what the Chat GPT AI says about that show. Bear with me. The Pugs and Kelly Show was a morning radio talk show. Okay, right there. Nah, we're in a morning show. That aired in Dallas, Fort Worth on 97.1 The Eagle. Yeah, no, they're at 97.1 The Eagle from 2006 until 2016. No, it aired on Live 105.3 between 2000 and 2011, 2010, I think, something like that. The show was hosted by Russ Martin, known as Pugs. Yeah. Oh, that's not true either. Who was a popular radio personality in the DFW area. And his co-host, Kelly Recuck. What is Recuck? Known as Kelly. Kelly Recuck? Where did that name come from? The show was known for its irreverent humor, controversial topics, and edgy interviews with celebrities and local personalities. That's pretty general, but I'd say that you got that one right. The Pugs and Kelly Show was one of the most popular morning shows in the DFW area. We were the morning show. We had the highest ratings of a midday show for a good 6-year period. Sorry, bad radio on the ticket, but we did beat you. The Pugs and Kelly Show was one of the most popular morning radio shows in DFW area and had a large and dedicated fan base. Yeah, we did. You guys are awesome. That is absolutely true. However, in 2016, Russ Martin left the show and it was subsequently canceled. That's not. So maybe there are some bugs to be worked out of the old Chat GPT AI format, because that is just all kinds of wrong. That is just all kinds of not true at all. Thank you to Radio Dallas, my friend on Twitter, for sending me that Chat GPTI artificial intelligence bio that was written about the old Pugs and Kelly show. How fun is that? All right, let's see. Did I skip over anything? I'm trying to see if there's anything else because I am running out of material. I mean, I got one last thing that I want to go into, but again, it's not necessarily, something that's breaking or trending. Let me jump really quick and see if there's anything that I'm missing. Byron says he likes the name Moorcock. Yeah, Kelly Moorcock. That would have been good. I bet they get info from Wiki. Do you have a... You know what? We used to have a Wikipedia page. We used to, and then it went away. And nobody went to it. So, yeah, no Wikipedia page for us anymore. I used to have my own Wikipedia page. I had a Pugs Moran Wikipedia page. And I'm glad it went away because it was embarrassing. It was one of those Wikipedia pages that's only like 3 sentences. I'm like, no, I got to be more accomplished than that. I can't be representing on Wikipedia with like 3 sentences. Let's see here. Oh my God. Is there anything new happening? All right, Southwest is back up in the air. Just announced Dominion versus Fox. Don't care about that. Why is DeMar Hamlin? DeMar Hamlin is trending. Why? They cut him? That's coming. Look, I know we all love DeMar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills, but... Oh, no, it's the opposite. Okay, very good. DeMar Hamlin has been fully cleared to resume football activities. This according to Bills general manager Brandon Beane. All right, very good. Very good. Commotio cordis. It's okay. That's DeMar Hamlin. That's what he had. Tracy McGrady is trending. All right, I don't see anything that's really all that big that we need to... All right. Cleared to play. Frank says, so we need to create a Pugs and Kelly Wikipedia page. But I think there should be a Pugs and Kelly page. I think we did enough there that page should come back. But if nobody visits it after like a couple of years, they'll just wipe it out. I don't know. I don't know what happens there. I don't know how it works. I know it was there, and then one day I went to go see it, and it was gone. What do you mean, Ed? Ed says, funny, he won't read the actual Chat GPT results. That sentence makes no sense to me. I don't know what that means. I will read whatever you direct me to read, kind sir. I have no idea what that means. I just read, this funny little thing. I should have. Ed is probably on Team Robot. And, Ed and I, we have a love of Battlestar Galactica. And I would think that Ed would be a little bit more hands off when it comes to the Rise of the Cylon. But apparently my guy Ed, he's on Team Cylon. Not me. I wanted to talk about this. And look at this. Yeah, Ed is trending this. This was another thing that was trending yesterday. We were going to talk about this yesterday. But remember the show ended prematurely? You saw it. You even commented on it. I don't know. I don't know what that means. All right. You guys want to see something funny? All right. You guys want to hear Ed yell at me for being stupid? Because we do this for fun. Yeah, Ed, I'm calling you. Pick up your phone. Okay. I don't know what this means. Ed can explain the Chat GT. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what it is. It's a robot at a typewriter. And now he's not going to answer. He's...
the worst part about you calling is I've got to shut down my entire audio thing so it doesn't echo.
I'm sorry. All right, explain this to me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
When I posted right under what you read, the actual reply from ChatGPT from a proper inquiry into the history of Pugs and Kelly.
Okay.
And the most you could come up with was, it didn't spell Jonathan correctly. Yeah. So I know you saw it.
It's spelled, okay, so that's what that was? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. What do you mean, a proper inquiry? What are you calling a robot? I don't know what this means. This is all very dizzying. I have no idea. All right, so you sent this.
That's all I was saying, is that if you ask it the right questions, if you phrase it properly, you will get a proper response.
Okay, so here's what you fixed. This is what you said, or I don't know if you fixed it.
I
Whatever.
didn't fix it. I just asked it a proper question about your history.
Okay, so here's what it said in response to that. It apologizes, which is interesting. It starts out by...
It's very friendly.
That's nice. It's nice that those
right up until it takes over the nuclear missile codes.
Exactly. It says, I apologize for my earlier response. Pugs Moran and Kelly Moore were radio personalities who co-hosted a show called Pugs and Kelly in Dallas, Texas. They worked together at various radio stations, including 105.3 Free FM. In the mid-2000s, their show was a mix of talk, radio, and entertainment, discussing various topics such as news, pop culture, and lifestyle issues. Both Pugs Moran, whose real name is Jonathan Moran, spelt wrong. That bugged me. How does chat GTPIAI or whatever? How do they not know how to spell Jonathan? It's pretty common.
You can spell Tracy multiple ways.
No, nobody spells Jonathan the way this computer spelled Jonathan.
We use an O instead of an A.
Yes.
Or vice versa.
Yes. Kelly Moore had career in radio before and after their time together, blah, blah, blah. Their honor, chemistry, and engaging discussions made them popular among listeners. Please note that the specific details about their show may be limited, as it was a local radio program and there might not be a lot of documentation of it. Oh, there's plenty of documentation online. You lazy son of a lazy ass. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate the clarification.
See ya.
There he goes. That's Ed. He's in charge of all this stuff. He's Ed of Radio Misfits, and he's the smartest computer guy that I know. This dude's been the smartest computer guy that I've known since 1995. like going all the way back to then. I wasn't even online. And Ed's like, this is my life. I'm like, yeah, it seems very confusing to me, and it's a fad. It'll all go away. Didn't go away. And here I sit, and there he sits. All right, one last thing that I did want to get into, and this was something... Well, actually, this isn't the last thing. I wanted to talk about this. So, let me pull this up for you. Interestingly enough, this is something that was posted by Ed. That I saw. I also saw it, but he posted... Oh, really? Now I can't find it. Hold on, we'll get there. Ooh. Folks, this is all house money basically from this point forward. I'm just cleaning up stuff from yesterday I didn't get to. All right, so here it is. All right, this is what I wanted to show you. So this was trending yesterday, and it's still trending today. They're still talking about it. I wanted to show this to you. I want to show you just how wrong this is. Okay. So we're not going to get into the whole, stupidity of, Dylan I don't even know what her name is. Dylan McDermott, the trans. We need another one. Seriously, we've got Dermot Mulrooney, we've got Dylan McDermott, and now we've got a trans person named Dylan McDermott. I don't even know who, whatever. I know one's a trans person, the other two are male actors who I just make no distinction. Dylan McDermott and Dermot Mulrooney. Don't care. Get me one of them. I need a Dylan Dermot Mulrooney type character for just if either's of it. Those are them. But then you got the trans person. Remember Bud Light? They were like, let's put the trans girl. We can try whatever it is. Whatever their thinking was. I don't know. A lot of blowback. Doesn't matter. Not going to help them. I'm not going to hurt them. It's Budweiser. They're just trying to expand the market. This is just a marketing thing. That you would be triggered by it is hysterical to me. Can't just let it go? No, you can't let it go. Because your every existence is to be fucking mad. And if somebody can just keep stoking that fire and just keep you mad, what? A tranny on a beer can? Well, it's crazy, right? So that's you. You are so immature emotionally if that's something that you're really upset about. There's a Chinese police station operating in New York City, but go ahead, keep fucking being pissed about a beer can that you will never see in a store. Nobody's seen those cans. They're not in stores. So that was the big deal. Stupid. It's stupid. First of all, I don't know if it's smart or stupid for Budweiser and their marketing, but I don't know. What are they thinking? I don't work for Budweiser marketing. I don't know what they're trying to open up a new avenue. I'm sorry, I don't foresee the trans community embracing Bud Light. I just don't. I see the trans community when they go out and have cocktails. I think they're cocktail drinkers. I think that they're drinking martinis and stuff like that. I don't see them, gripping a Bud Light, but hey, who knows? Whatever. Don't mean to speculate on a lifestyle choice that I'm not familiar with, but it just seems to me it doesn't match. But hey, they did it anyway. And it caused a whole ruckus. So now we got this one. Let me make sure we do this right. Yeah. Boom. So we got this one. This was Lorena Boebert who put this together. She photoshopped a can of Bud Light with the image of Pat Tillman, and she said, "Hey, Bud Light, here's the one America wanted." No, Lorena, this is so incredibly insulting. This is you dumb fucking bitch. This is not at all what Americans who understand and appreciate Pat Tillman. This is not at all what we want, because those of us who understand Pat Tillman, we know that this is not what he wants. This is not what the family wants. There is a reason that we have not been hearing the name Pat Tillman for the past 20 years, because the family and the government, the Department of Defense, were wildly embarrassed by the way the Pat Tillman death unfolded. They lied about it. They made up this bullshit story about how he was fearlessly. They used that for recruitment, and it wasn't true. He was killed by friendly fire. He was shot 3 times in the head by a guy in his own group that was 10 feet away from him. 10 feet away, shot 3 times in the head. Friendly fire. The true story did not make it to the press. The fake story, which was designed to make 18-year-olds go, "I want to be an American like Pat Tillman, I'm going to join the Marines." So all those people that joined because the Department of Defense basically exploited the image and likeness and name and courage and heroism and patriotism of Pat Tillman, it was all a lie. And the family went nuts. Tillman's family went nuts. The Department of Defense had to apologize. They burned everything of his. They burned his notebooks. They burned his diaries. They burned all of these things because it didn't fit the narrative, because Pat Tillman was a very intellectual young man. He thought about things in a grander scheme than kill the guy in front of me. He wasn't a big dumb meathead. He was actually a fairly well-rounded individual who thought the war was a crime. He thought and openly believed that what they were doing there was a crime. Wrote about it, talked about it. Other people knew that that's how he felt. His brother at his funeral. Do you remember Pat Tillman's brother at Pat Tillman's funeral, who got up holding a beer, wearing a white t-shirt because his brother had been out fucking partying all night with Pat's friends the night before? He just walks in, he pulls the mic, and he just fucking torched everybody. You SOBs, you're trying to use my brother's name for your bullshit, and my brother didn't. Pat Tillman's a really interesting guy, a real patriot, a real American, a smart guy. So for Lorena Boebert to now 20 years later to be exploiting him like this, when everybody basically knows that you don't do that with Pat Tillman, you leave the Tillman family alone because of how humiliating that whole thing was back in 2004 or 2005 or whenever it was that it went down. But there is a blackout on using or exploiting the image of Pat Tillman. And it's because of respect for the family and what the family says he would have wanted or not wanted or whatever. So I don't know. What do you think of someone like Lorena Boebert? She's using this to try and stir up the masses. She's doing something that either she doesn't know because she's completely unfamiliar with the complicated story of Pat Tillman. I guess that's the question. Does she not know that we don't exploit the image and likeness of Pat Tillman? Does she not know that? Or does she know that and she doesn't give a fuck and she's just putting out there anyway and fuck that family? What is her thinking here? She's either stupid and doesn't really know the story and is just simply putting something out there to gin people up, or she knows the story and she's just a bitch. She's just a bitch who doesn't give a fuck about that family and their wishes, because they do not want Pat Tillman exploited. And he hasn't been for 20 years. First time we're talking about him. That's some bullshit right there. I'm telling you, Pat Tillman was a badass, man. He was an American through and through. He gave up an NFL football career. Why do we know his name? Because he was famous. After the September 11th bombings, this dude played for the Arizona Cardinals, and he retired from the NFL to go and fight for his country. He gave up millions of dollars. He gave up an NFL football contract. Actually, I don't know how true that is. Here's the other thing that I don't know about Pat Tillman. Was he any good? Like, there's a lot of dudes in the NFL that make a team, but, sometimes they're special teamers, or Pat Tillman wasn't he wasn't a name. Like, I didn't know, gotta have Pat Tillman in my fantasy. It wasn't like that. So I don't know if he was any good. I don't really know. Anyway, doesn't matter. He walked away to fight for his country in the wake of September 11th. He gave up a big career that he probably worked his ass off his entire life. Why? Because he loved this country. And now to have his wishes be completely disavowed by someone the likes of Lorena Bobert, who probably doesn't even know his story. The narrative, I guess, among some people is that he's, John Wayne. He was a complicated man. He was a good man, though. I mean, there was absolutely nothing about Pat Tillman that would make you go, that dude's a son of a bitch. Everything about that dude seemed to be cool as fuck. Everything. Right down to the way he looked at the world. He was a complicated, smart guy. So that's terrible. And the family, by the way, that's also why it's still trending today. The family's fucking pissed. Of course they're pissed. They're like, you know what? Leave his name out of your lying whore mouth, is exactly what Pat Tillman's brother said to Lorena Bobert, or whatever. Lying whore mouth. The brother who went up there with his drink in his hand, crying, talking about how he's still half in the bag because he and all of Pat's boys went out the night before and they pulled an all-nighter, and now they're here, and we got something we want to say about our boy Pat. It was the greatest. It was one of the greatest eulogies you ever saw. It was so real. Dude wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing the same fucking clothes he was wearing at the bar when he was drinking with all of Pat's football buddies and high school friends and all of that stuff. The night before Pat's funeral. And he just walks into the big funeral, jumps up on stage, had a beer in his hand. I wonder if it's on YouTube. It's great. It's so great. And then to have Lorena Bobert do this 20 years later, trying to fucking just gin up and divide us more. Pat was not a divisive character. Anyway, it is a divisive thing, baseball. And we're going to close on this because there's a story that's trending here that I wanted to show. We were going to do this yesterday, but unfortunately we ran out of time. Here, we'll get rid of this. Boop, 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 boop. Ed points out that it took Lorena Bobert 4 attempts to get her GED when she was 34 years old. Hey, but she's a congresswoman, so, nothing but the best and the brightest. Fucking weirdo. Looks amazing in jeans. I will tell you this. There has never been an elected member of Congress who looked better in a pair of jeans than Lorena Bobert. That little old Opal Bobert, man, looking good in those jeans. She's got a great body. I'm weirdly attracted to her. I couldn't be with her. I couldn't hang out with her because she's so dumb. But she is kind of hot. I would definitely hit on her. I would definitely flirt with her. If it was, just looking for something. Anyway, so I want to talk about, this was trending the last couple of days. I guess it happened over the weekend. I watched the game that it happened at, but I didn't see this occur because this occurred in the stands. There was a fight at the Chicago White Sox game over the weekend. We love to show the baseball fights. This one was, here, a couple different, let me see if we can get a couple of different angles on this before we get rid of all the pop-ups. Let's watch a good baseball fight, shall we? All right. Are you going to give me a commercial? Well, let's see. Oh, no commercial. Very good. Okay. We got a couple of different angles of this, and then I want to talk a little bit about what we're looking at. Here we go. All right, so this was Sunday. Was this Sunday at the White Sox game there in my beautiful south side of Chicago? This is how we roll. This is how you step into our place. This is what happens. By the way, if you're wearing a uniform of the other team, we don't care. We beat each other up. And on the steep incline those steps, man. So where is this? Is this the that looks like right field? Like just left of the right, just to the right of the right field foul pole? That dude just punched that girl in the Eloy jersey in the face. Now the rest of the crowd is seeing it. Now the rest of the crowd is getting into it. Oh! They're just boom, boom. They're just trading blows. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Them's my peoples. That's how we behave. Here, we got another one from a different angle. We see more. Oh, this is the one with this guy. Hold on. This guy. I saw this guy. This guy doesn't have a girlfriend. This guy doesn't have a girlfriend, or he doesn't have a wife. He lives alone. And I can tell you how I know this, because he could not be in a relationship with a woman and wear a tank top like this. All right, let's see this guy. There's some rules to wearing tank tops. Hey, I would love to wear a tank top. I would love to. I think a tank top would be nice. I have many times looked at tank top and went, man, I wish I could pull off a tank top. But I can't, because I'm a fat guy. Fat guys can't wear tank tops. And yet, here you have this guy. Here he is. Look at him. See him? See him in the blue tank top? I know. I shouldn't make fun of him, but... All right, so here we go. Here's the fight from a different angle. And this guy has no girlfriend, because a girlfriend would have said, you can't wear wear sleeves. And look at, you've got like a tire around your midsection. Yeah, you go, it's like pudgy boy arms and my tank top. Welcome to the rain show, he says. Oh, he's got bad shorts on too. He's got bad shorts. I got shorts exactly like that. I know they're bad. Who the hell is number 10? Martinez? I remember the White Sox players who wore 10. Wait, is that from Moncada? Maybe it says Moncada. What does that say? Now Gene Honda, the voice of the White Sox, please refrain from slow. Gene Honda trying to get him calm down. Gene Honda. Hey, Gene Honda. Let's go. Better than the action on the field, that's for sure. Nice to see a good weekend crowd go out there on the south side. Very nice to see our stadium filled. I believe this was a Bill and Cease day. I think Bill and Cease was on the mind, so he always brings out the players. My dude's got a Jordan 45 jersey for the win. White Sox Jordan 45. That's rare. I would wear a Jordan 45. A lot of people don't know this, but Michael Jordan played in the White Sox. I would buy a Jordan White Sox jersey at 45. I'm going for somebody to do their job. Now that definitely says that does not say Moncada. I don't know who that number 10 jersey is. Maybe it's his own last name. None of this, man. She wants nothing to do with this lady, right? She's like, man, these people are crazy. All right, it goes on for a while. There's really nothing else to show there. But I did want to sort of... It's difficult for us White Sox fans. We are the skanky lesser of our North Side cousins, the Chicago Cubs. We are the dirt bags. We are the people who we can't behave ourselves when we go out. Can't have anything nice on the South Side because we will ruin it. I will say this, though. There are a lot of fights. There are a lot of fights at White Sox games. But I think there's a lot of fights at, a lot of stadiums. Does seem like there seems to be maybe a little more. Philadelphia games, Jet games, also big for fights. But, as far as fights in the crowd, you have a good time if that's what you're going to the ball game for, if you go to a White Sox game, because you'll definitely see some of those. Now, I just want to show you a little bit of history as to why we are the skankiest fans in the history of baseball. I mean, first of all, we're basically like fans of a small market team. I know we're in the third largest market in America, but we share that market with another team who is by far the more popular team. So we're basically like a team in Tulsa. Like if Tulsa had a pro baseball team. That's really kind of what our vibe is. So when you're a fan of the White Sox on the south side of Chicago, you're really a fan of the White Sox. Because fuck them other guys. Because those other guys, they're the Disney team. They've got all the great things, and we're like... we're making Roger Corman movies there on the South Side playing baseball. But meanwhile, up at the Cubs, they're like making Disney Avenger movies up there. That's just how we feel. It's a lesser thing. But we have a ripe history with Chicago White Sox fans. We have a ripe history of not just keeping it in the stands, but also bringing it out there onto the crowd, onto the field.
Season showed up at Chicago's Comiskey Park for the twilight doubleheader between the White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. 15,000 others had to be turned away. Many had come for Disco Demolition Night, a promotional gimmick. Between games, as planned, a huge box containing thousands of disco records was blown up.
Yeah, and then everybody came onto the field and rioted. Look at us, glorious Southside dirtbags.
Bonfires were
setting fires in the stadium.
The batting cage was torn down and destroyed.
Yeah.
Fistfights broke out. White Sox players had to be locked in their clubhouse for their own protection. The melee lasted an hour and a half and resulted in 39 arrests and a few minor injuries. The baseball fans missed the second game. It was canceled. The White Sox lost it. It was forfeited to Detroit.
So that was when I was a little kid. That's sort of how we set the table with how we're supposed to behave as White Sox fans. We, the bar was set pretty high there early on. Now, of course, we have the famous Disco Demolition riot that canceled the second game. That's, people think of, the old White Sox, they think of that. I just showed that to you. But we've also got something that I don't think everybody realizes. We did this. This was another thing that we White Sox fans have to be proud of. Hold on, watch this. This was back, I want to say, the mid-'90s. Like I said, you can fight in the stands, but sometimes we bring it onto the field. And this was back in the 90s, a game against the Royals. Tom Gamboa, the first base coach for the Royals, he met a couple of White Sox fans up close and personal. Yeah, this is my people. Oh, I'm sorry, wait, I didn't...
Field, there is a pile-up.
Guys come out of the...
Tucker at the plate. Tucker bunting, pops it up. Mike Porzio will make the diving catch. All of a sudden, the frightening scene at first base. The Royals bench charging the field. There is a pile-up.
A couple of guys come out of the stands.
Two spectators jumped out of the stands, attacking first base coach Tom Gamboa. The spectators, a father and son, started to throw punches at Gamboa.
Let me tell you something. As far as fathers and sons on the South Side go, the father and son of the decade. This is, I'm telling you, I'm always looking for interesting things to do with my son. I've never turned to him at a ball game and said, let's go knife the first base coach. First of all, they're not wearing shirts. That's a dead giveaway. If you are out in public, I don't care how hot it is, if you are out in public and you are not wearing a shirt, you're trash. I'm sorry. That's just, unless you're playing pickup basketball or something like that, you're doing shirts and skins. But if you're just like at a ball game and you're like, I'm wearing jeans and I'm going to take my shirt off, you're trash. Anyway, these two dudes from Alsip, Illinois. Oh my God. Father and son.
Boa. The umpire, Matt Hallowell, and White Sox second baseman Willie Harris appears
Okay, so let's pause it right here. I don't know which is the dad and which is the son. They both are just legendary Southside dirtbags. Right out of the show Shameless. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Shameless, but these are the kind of people that live around this neighborhood. So they jump out. They jump right now. This is an old man. It's Tom Gamboa, first base coach for the Royals. They jump him. They got a knife. They were going to stab him. They didn't get to stab him. But this is where it all turned bad. Look at the entirety of the Kansas City Royals coming to kick the shit out of these two guys.
Stunned and frozen. The 54-year-old Gamboa had to defend himself, kicking the attackers. Here's the disturbing scene right there as he tries to defend himself from this father and son. And then the Royals players and coaches rushing to his aid. When the melee was finally broken up, Gamboa is walked off the field with a large welt on his head. He would say later he was stiff and sore. The umpire, Hallowell, and the hitting coach, Lamar Johnson, picking up pieces of broken glass. They found a folded pocket knife at the scene. Gamboa in the dugout, smiling but very relieved.
I was just shocked because it came from behind, and to tell you the truth, I didn't have any clue what had happened. I just felt like I'd gotten blindsided from behind. I had no idea by who, because I knew we weren't having a problem with the other team. And when I rolled over and saw that there were two.
Why? Like, what is the first base coach? Like, what problem do you have with the first base coach other than maybe he's closest to you? And if these guys were like right up on the wall, how did these dirtbags afford those good tickets? These guys had to come from the upper decks. There's no way.
Two of them, I tried to kick one guy to keep him abreast, and then the other guy kind of smoked me on the side here. I heard one of the guys say one of them has a knife, and then I was stunned, so I was checking to see if I'd been stabbed and just didn't realize it. And like I was telling some of the guys in here, ironically, I was watching the tennis tournament that year that Monica Seles got stabbed by a guy coming out of the stands. And to tell you the truth, I was just so grateful that I didn't get stabbed, because when somebody comes at you from behind, there's nothing you can do.
As for Gamboa's attackers,
look at these dirtbags. They're being put in the back of a police car in handcuffs.
They were led into the police car. They answered the question, why?
Why did you do what you did?
He flicked us off. He got what he deserved.
Hey, how you doing? This is Ted Lasso. I'm the new head coach of the Tottenham Hotspurs.
They were heckling the first base umpire. And so the first base umpire turns and just flips him off, and so that set him off. Now, you might be thinking, hey, Pugs, that's kind of crazy. That's got to be an isolated incident there for the White Sox, huh? I mean, you can't have two instances of fans jumping. Hold on a second. Oh, I'd say no. You're wrong about that. Let's go a couple of years later, also on the south side of Chicago, my people. Here's something else that happened. Although we don't have the good video of this. We only have the description. Oh. That's the reputation of me and my White Sox brothers. Ballpark's got a new name, but it's the same reputation for us dirtbag Southside White Sox fans. Let me hear what they say here for a second. Oh, wait.
Able to get to first base umpire Laz Diaz.
You guys even hear that?
Not nearly as
there you go.
bad. Fortunately, the ballpark's got a new name, but it's the same old garbage that we see from some fans in Chicago. This was, in fact, the fourth time the game had to be stopped because a fan ran onto the field, this time able to get to first base umpire Laz Diaz, and obviously not nearly as a bad situation as we saw with Tom Gamboa, who was attacked by two fans last September. Your thoughts on any way that this thing can be stopped?
Yeah. Mandatory fine, mandatory jail sentence, you go on the field. This just has to stop. It has to stop in every city. Post the signs, post them in...
You're being too nice. It doesn't happen in every city. In fact, there's, 32 baseball... How many baseball teams are there? So that many stadiums, I don't believe that this has happened anywhere else. Fans running onto the field to attack coaches and umpires, That seems to be something that we only get to do on the South Side. And I gotta tell you, there's a part of me, we own it. We own it. Yeah, you're damn right we're dirtbags. You're damn right we're scum. Best food in baseball, though. Seriously, you come out to our ballpark, it's the best food in baseball. Let me see here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Better food than Wrigley. That's for sure. That's all we care about. Every year, like, the Tribune does, like, I don't know if it's a Tribune. I don't even know what it is. It's probably some eater thing. But it's always like, who has the best food? It's always White Sox. The Bertucci boys running that food system service out there. White Sox has good food. And you got nothing else on the like. You didn't. What are you gonna do? You got to get people eating. Just get them eating. If they're eating and they've got like a $15 hot dog in their hand, they're probably not going to run out onto the field. I think that's the thinking. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Look at me. Look at us going a little bit long today. Why? Because I love you. Because I love you. That's why. That's why we did it. You forgot to. Oh, which one didn't get shared? Which one didn't get shared? Did you get okay? So did we saw the father and son, right? We saw them beat up Tom Gamboa. Did we see the Laz Diaz one? It doesn't matter. There was no good video of it anyway. But it was just a discussion about umpire Laz Diaz getting his ass kicked by white trash dirtbag scum that I call my brothers. Hey, tonight 9:00. Join us for Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker now with 100% more E. That's right. E joins us now every day. We're enjoying that. What else? Guess that's it. Tip the show if you can. It's really important the next couple of weeks. We've got to see where we are. So if you can drop a little something in the tip jar, that'd be great. Love you guys for doing that. Those of you who can't, I don't love you any less. I completely get it. Completely understand. This is the world we live in. You can, you can. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. Not everybody can, but those who can, I hope you will. That was a confusing way to say that, but I did. Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff. We'll see you tonight at 9:00 for Pugs and Parker. Oh, we're listening to John Hinckley doing Everything Is Gonna Be All Right, which is a theme that I've been using on the nighttime show. Somehow it's making its way here onto the midday show. That's fine. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Although this seems like more of a nighttime, it's time for bed song. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I do like that one, though. But this is the one we need to be doing. There you go. No, Al, you're awesome, my friend. Adam, I should talk about Draymond Green. Now, I don't know that I can effectively talk about that. I see that he's trending, but, what did he do? Was it a reason that I just thought, oh, it's some nonsense that I didn't want to talk about? What's Draymond? Draymond Green ejected after hard step on, he did something in the game. Draymond Green requests ankle x-ray after controversial play with Sabonis. 50 Cent reacts to Draymond Green stomping. Okay. Let me see it. I didn't see it. There's probably going to be a video of it somewhere. Yeah, that looks pretty. It looks pretty legit. It looks like Green just walked right over Sabonis. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN reported that Adrian Wojnarowski. Am I pronouncing that right? That's a difficult one. Now, I come from a very Polish city, so I feel comfortable with Polish last names, especially complicated ones, but I want to make sure. Adrian Wojnarowski. Am I doing that right? Fuck you, I'm doing it right. Half my friends have parents from Poland in Chicago. I've known a few Wojnarowski. Actually, no, I don't know any Wojnarowskis, but, it's a pretty common Polish name, I'm guessing. Adrian Wojnarowski reported that Sabonis underwent x-rays on his sternum after the game, which came back negative. He will go through more testing on Tuesday. My leg got grabbed. Four-time NBA champion said in the so this is Draymond. My leg got grabbed. The four-time NBA champion said in a post-game press conference, the second time in 2 nights, and the referee is just watching. I got to land my foot somewhere, and I'm not the most flexible person, so it's not stretching that far. You know what I need to see it in live action. Like, I need to see I'm seeing stills of it. And it looks like, he's definitely stepping on him. Is there a full video, though? Yeah, I don't know. There you go, Adam. I don't know what else to say about the Draymond Green thing. That's all I got. Adam says it's a white name. I can get it. But wait a second. Wait a second. You corrected me on Aaliyah Shawkat. Oh God. You corrected me on. She's white. I think. Like, that seems like a white name. Aaliyah is a white name. That's a very white name. It's a very white girl. I knew a bunch of... Actually, I didn't know a bunch of Aaliyahs. I knew a bunch of Allies. And that's what I called her, proving that Adam might be right. All right, I'll shut up now. Things are going good. There's got to be other things. See, I feel like I got to do an extra half hour for you, at least, because of yesterday's show, guys. I apologize. I really did feel bad about that. I like doing this. So, yesterday we had the end of the show early, after like 45 minutes. Day, the best is yet to come. Apparently, Kylie Jenner is dating Timothy Chalamet. That dude, that's going on. I don't know which one Kylie Jenner is. One, Kylie or Kendall, I don't know. They're both attractive young ladies. But one of them has like an X factor. Like, one of them I look at and I don't know which one. Like, one of the Kylie or Kendall. One of them is like, I'm like, oh, she's prettier. She's prettier than the two. I think it's Kendall. I think Kendall's the one that I think is prettier. Whatever it is, a man of my age should not spend this much time considering who's hotter. This 25-year-old or this 25. How old are they? I don't even know. McCurtain County is trending again. It's trending number 7 currently nationally on Google Trends. We talked about McCurtain County. That's that place up in Oklahoma, right across the border there from Texas. Right, actually, it's the southern half of McCurtain County is the Texas border, and the eastern half is the Arkansas border. So it's right there in the corner there by Texarkana kind of area. A bunch of their like sheriffs, and they all got caught recorded saying racist stuff. And now the governor of Oklahoma is saying, hey, they gotta go. We gotta wipe out everybody in there. That ain't good. Comfort last of love to choose your
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different.
Says here the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting set to trade for Rams wide receiver Allen Robinson, who did absolutely nothing last year with the Los Angeles Rams, and the year before did absolutely nothing with the Chicago Bears. So good luck to you, Pittsburgh. Allen Robinson is coming off 2 horseshit seasons. It's the reason the Bears, who had no wide receivers and a new quarterback in Justin Fields, it's the reason they let Allen Robinson walk. They were like, yeah, he's not as good as we thought. And the Rams were like, we think he's good. And the Rams realized he ain't that good anymore. Anyway, Robinson, 29, would become another experienced player acquired by the Steelers this offseason. That's all I got. Love you guys. See you tonight at 9, and then tomorrow again at noon. Bye, everybody.